Hey, sounds good.
Sweet. We'd like to welcome everyone to another digital Kava session on the Polynesian Eyes podcast. You have Tua, and as always, Mr. Atearo. Would like to welcome Richard Lee Fale joining us for the first time. Looks like he goes by Casual Observer, but go ahead, Lee, do an intro real quick and say hi to everybody.
Hey, great to be here. You know, this is my first episode on the podcast. Thank you guys for having me. Just was an opportune time to kind of jump on. Been pretty busy the past several months trying to line up some of these ducks that we got cooking in the oven, trying to see what we can make happen. Hopefully, I think we should hit the bottom of kind of where the economy is kind of headed sometime in the next 6 to 12 months, and then we want to be in a position to ride the wave that is
the comeback wave.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for.
Sweet. Well, welcome, and hopefully this is the first of many as your schedule allows. Lee, Masi Nacho is back in the game. Nacho's back in the game. He said
welcome,
he was Nacho malo and Kava. So Nacho has just thrown his Kava bag on the table for tonight. Malo Nacho for sponsoring
Malo,
the
Nacho.
event.
Malo.
Oh yeah, with special requests, I get taufua tonight. I guess Nacho is on a schedule. He doesn't have time to waste.
Just straight, eh?
Yeah, and as always, iyo Monia Pito Pepe, it's that time. I haki ipo when oshi omaye Nacho Kava, so we can get started. So we're just going to continue on that thread, you know, kind of leading up on the pre-show, kind of discussing about all the athletes that's coming through. Let's talk about, I think let's revisit Kahuku. Let's start with that because I think that's an important aspect. Oh yeah, the Red Raiders for life.
Yeah.
Tomahawk chop in. But kind of give the update, Lee, on the games and the schedule for Kahuku. I think good conversation to start there because with the NIL, the focus on high school football is going to accelerate, and that's a great opportunity for the youth.
Yeah, you're starting to see a lot of organization. You know, they're still trying to figure out how this NIL thing is really going to affect the high school and collegiate level. They're trying to get some order to the whole process, but you know, Kahuku has always been a very prominent name, especially defeating the number one team in the country last year, heading into playing the number one team, current ranked team, Bishop Gorman in Las Vegas next week, followed by 3 weeks later, they're going to be playing the number two team in the country over in Hawaii under the leadership of head coach Sterling Carvalho. We were at BYU Hawaii together. You know, he was always a great athlete. I don't know him super well, but I got to know him a little bit, especially when I was back in office over in Hawaii and kind of working some of those things. But great athlete and pretty impressive what he's done with the Kahuku program, especially on elevating it on the national level. Yeah. And I think that strategy is really going to work because a lot of parents are going to want to look at a program that is going to get them national prominence. And I think what Sterling is doing there at Kahuku is delivering on the best opportunities for these kids to get looked at by national programs and to get NIL deals. And I mean, it's a pretty fantastic opportunity that now these kids can immediately translate their football talent into economic opportunity for themselves and their family. So it's pretty cool to see.
Nice. Where did he go to high school at?
Oh, he went. This is an interesting. He went to high school on Kauai. I'm pretty sure, but you know they also have Red Raiders on Kauai.
No, I didn't.
And yeah, there's Red Raiders on Kauai, and the reason it's the exact same reason why Kahuku are the Red Raiders. It is actually Iolani. Remember, these schools were too poor to afford their own uniforms.
So Iolani donated uniform
Iolani
there
High
as well.
School donated their uniforms to Kahuku and to that high school
In Kauai.
on Kauai, and so they became Red Raiders, and then Iolani just became the Raiders.
So he's from Kauai. Okay.
Yeah, you know,
And
but Kahuku is one of those interesting stories because it's the strong presence of the Pacific Island community that turned that program into what it is, right? Because I remember reading articles from like the late 1800s through the early 1900s of how, these small little high schools out on the North Shore had no chance of ever becoming something real. But then with the establishment of BYU Hawaii, the Polynesian
BGG.
Cultural Center, and you get the influx of people from across the Pacific into that area. I mean, it's made a huge impact.
100%. I mean, that's the same reason why Trinity High School in Texas, in Euless, Texas, it's the same thing, right? When I first moved there and I went to go pick up a U-Haul, there was, like a grandma in the store. And that's first thing she asked me when she saw me, says, do you go to school? Did you go to high school at Trinity? And I go, no, I didn't. But it seems like everybody I know went to high school there. And then she, went into the whole, up until the mid 80s, nobody knew who Trinity High School was. Right. And then she said, then you boys showed up and we win state championships. Now everybody knows us, but it's definitely that influx of Polynesian athletes that, I mean, I don't know what they're eating here in Texas, man, but these Polynesian kids, these Tongan kids in Texas are massive.
Supersized. They're supersized.
Dude, imagine this: 11 years old, you're 6'3", and you're over 300 pounds.
Ooh, maybe that's a little too big.
No, no. If you were to trim him down, he would still be 280. Like, this is just a big boy. Like, he's 6'3".
So he carries the weight well.
Yeah, but he's 6'3". You know what I mean? He's 6'3". He's sitting there at the primary program, and he makes it look like the bishop should be in the primary program, and he should be sitting in front. Hey, Loma, malo apito. Appreciate it, man.
Malo, Loma.
Oh, flag football seems to be getting popular over there in New Zealand.
Loma, that's this flag football thing. The NFL has made a decision that they want flag football to be an Olympic sport, and it's crazy to see that an organization, right? The NFL gets behind something and they make it happen. It's kind of, this is where you kind of hope, you kind of wish rugby league kind of did that a little bit better, because I mean, rugby league is played in more countries by more people, but we haven't seen any real movement to getting into the Olympics. But now you see flag football, because the NFL is very concerned about how big the NBA has gotten on a global basis. And so the NFL is trying to figure out, well, how do we get football or American football into more homes across the globe? And flag football as an Olympic sport is one of those routes. And I don't know if you guys knew this, but the U20 American football team from Japan spanked the USA U20 football
team. And then
team.
USA lost again to another team, European team, right after that as well.
Yeah, so, I can't think of anything better than that happen. For these international teams to be making a really strong presence in American football. And of course, because of Madden, the success of Madden, the video game, and because of how much content the NFL pumps out there, you actually get a lot of following for the NFL just based on the quality of the content they're putting out, highlights and things like that.
No, but isn't like the NFL games in Europe, they're like selling out. Like, once they put out tickets, they're selling out like, I don't know, like hours or in 30 minutes. I mean,
no. You're talking minutes. They had that NFL game that they took to Germany. They had almost 1 million people waiting in line to buy tickets.
Same thing in Mexico. sold out
Yeah,
in minutes in
it,
Mexico
But they
it,
City.
have a presence internationally. Like the NFL brand is still huge. They
yeah,
just trying to
it was a
structure.
70,000 seat stadium in Germany that they played in, and they sold out in less than 15 minutes. So if you were like, number 70,001, you didn't get a ticket because there was like six
Mhm.
or 700,000 people waiting in line to buy those tickets. I feel like they said they could have sold 1.3 million tickets to that game. So
Wow.
obviously there's not a stadium big enough to
Hey, Alex, welcome to the session.
Oh,
Malo, also welcome to Mo. Welcome. Mahal taton big kamata pe fakaholo mo. We'll leave
mm.
the Ulis kids to alone for now. When you're 13 years old, still have a
He's
lot to
probably
work
still
well,
on.
growing.
yeah, Mo.
But
I didn't know for a whole hanging go. I think that's what Mo's saying. You mo hanging 50. Actually 50 hanging go.
yeah, anyways, this is what came to my mind when you brought up that flag football is going to be in the Olympics. Hopefully, it's not like this
Oh
because
my goodness. Is this
break
the break
dancing.
dance? Is this an
This is the break
Australian break
dancing in
dance?
the Olympics. Oh, shale! How the flag football is going to be.
But how kita man na photo ge ay break dance ge Olympic,
Yeah. He looks pretty Aussie to me. That's what
that's
Aussie.
I was looking at the uniform. Oh, hey, look,
Are
Nacho,
you
he must
sure
have
that's
been reading
real?
your mind. Must have been reading Nacho's mind.
Uh,
Yeah,
the way
way.
the Olympics be going, they gotta fix that transgender stuff first, and then
Oh,
that's
yeah,
what happened.
way.
That's that's a whole nother story. Kind of that situation there, but we'll see how that kind of unfolds. I believe there were 40 million people that watched the opening of the Olympics, and the viewership is up significantly, but I think that's especially coming off of numbers that were really down from COVID and the Tokyo Olympics. So
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. They said up. Was it really record, or it could be up? When you come from COVID, anything's up from there. Because that's the first thing that came to my mind when they sent that announcement out. It's like, dude, when the ceiling is the floor, like COVID, then it's not hard to beat.
mm.
So yeah, so I mean it's going to be a lot of I think a lot of opportunity for Polynesian youth. I mean, you saying Kahuku, who are they playing and where at again?
They're playing Bishop Gorman
Vegas.
in Vegas next week.
Yeah, and it's going to be packed with Kahuku fans. Last time I went to that game when I was living in Vegas, the Kahuku side was absolutely jam packed. I went and sat on the Bishop Gorman side.
Remember, there were a bunch of fights over tickets because the Kahuku fans were going to buy up all the Bishop Gorman side, and then Bishop Gorman finally they got a booster to buy out all the tickets on the Bishop Gorman side because they were getting into fights at the office there, and then people said, "Oh, this side's only for Bishop Gorman fans," and then people were trying to pretend like they were Bishop Gorman fans to go get tickets, and then I think there were actually some actual like fist fights that happened in the school office there, people trying to get tickets.
Well, I mean, I think they bought out the tickets and then they didn't even fill it up with their own fans because I went and sat on the Bishop Gorman side because there was space, know, and the Kahuku side, there were people standing on the sides. There is no doubt that Kahuku travels extremely well nationwide. So that's another advantage.
It's true, right? It's same with the University of Hawaii. The University of Hawaii football team can only fill a stadium in two places. It's in Hawaii and in Las Vegas, right? So the reference of I remember getting on the freeway in Las Vegas. Every time you get on, you'll pass like 10 cars that have like Hawaii stickers that will have like Maui built. Clearly people that are from Hawaii there. And actually, I mean, in Utah as well, you get a lot of people from Hawaii here.
There's a migration there.
Yeah.
No, because Sterling, and that's the thing about Sterling, what he's doing. Because obviously Koku is not money wise is probably not going to be able to compete with like the Punahous, which is probably one of the richer schools. St. Louis also does have some good financial backing there. But I was thinking the more times he plays on national TV, that helps Koku's brand with getting kids to play. So I think it's an awesome thing that Sterling's doing, playing these national televised games.
Oh, absolutely, dude! What a brilliant move, a gutsy move, right? To
Mm,
put yourself on the national stage like that, because if if things don't go well, you kind of run the risk of kind of damaging your brand in a sense. But I think that is reflective of kind of the Kahuku character as a
mm,
this the entire district as a whole, and then the community there. Kind of that Red Raider spirit, and the way the way the community rallies behind it is absolutely amazing. It's the way the fans travel. It definitely makes it feel like you're not sure who the home team is because of how many Red Raider fans there are there.
mm. And I was just gonna say, Lee, that the reason why Koku is special is because of the Polynesian community of because the only
100%.
the only way to replicate that is like Mate Matonga. The only way we can celebrate to that level and
Yeah.
how we have success. So that's a Polynesian thing, and that helps with Polynesian settling that side of the island because
Oh yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
don't get
That's
that at Punahou,
no,
No.
no,
St.
you don't get it.
Louis.
Oh, dude,
You,
And,
like
yeah.
I can't remember who we were talking to, but I was like, my senior year, we win the state championship. We don't have a banquet. We don't get T-shirts, and then we were told to fill up a form if you wanted a state championship ring.
ring, and that
Yeah,
was it.
that was it.
But also, kind of when you played there, it was also. I mean, you guys had won so many. It's like, well, what else is new? That was the expectation, right? I mean, the
Literally asked my defensive coordinator and I said, "Hey, are we doing a banquet or anything?" He's like, "Tua, have you seen the gym? You have to win 16 years in a row before anybody gets excited about anything."
Mm.
So that was kind of the thing. Hey, Brown Monk, welcome,
Oh,
welcome.
Brown Monk.
Is that penalty cup for you, Brown Monk, or are you donating that to Nacho? Yeah, yeah. I mean that's it's going to be interesting. I mean,
Let me say that I've heard. I haven't really experienced it myself, but I heard that Lahaina Luna on Maui had they're also red and white like Kahuku, but I heard their community kind of rallies and has a pretty strong dude. And have you seen their football field?
no,
Oh man, what the view! I can't remember what is that Lanai that you can see from that stadium, but the backdrop with the ocean in the back, and you can see the island of Lanai in the background. Dude, it is
Was it?
beautiful.
Oh, it wasn't affected by the fires. The
that's
high
what I
school.
was going to say. Did it
I
survive?
know. I was gonna. Yeah.
Yeah, good question. Good
No,
question.
you know what? I think it did survive because I saw a video online of a graduation,
Oh, okay.
recent graduation, and they were on the field and they had the drones doing
Oh,
like a whole presentation for them. So it's I think it must have done okay.
Okay. Did they come up? Because I know Lahaina Luna was on that Division 2. Did they come up to Division 1 Hawaii
I
State?
don't think
Like,
so. I don't
okay,
think
so they're
so
still
because
Division
they
Two.
won that Division 2 title, and then they haven't done anything after that. So I'm thinking they're stayed at the D2.
Okay.
pull up a image of that Lahaina Luna. Dude, that has to be one of the most beautiful fields to play on in the world.
Okay,
Take a look at that field with I think that is Lanai in the background. Either that or like Kaho'olawe maybe. I'm not sure.
Okay. Okay. When was this field done, Lee? This Lahaina Luna
Oh,
football
maybe
field.
10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago.
Oh, okay. So it's
yeah,
been a
it
while.
doesn't look too bad.
Yeah, but you
It's,
see the island in the background with the ocean and stuff and everything. Like who
let
has
me.
a better view?
That is pretty cool. Right by the kind of the ocean.
Yeah, and then you see I'm not sure what island that is in the background, but that is scenic.
So right there, you're saying that there's that island right there.
Yeah, with the ocean there and stuff.
Oh, talk
But
about Lahaina. Apparently, I saw a settlement $4.2 billion for the community, but it's gonna be interesting how they distribute that and how much will actually trickle down. We
you
know,
know,
we know it always sounds good, but with Hawaii politics, it
It-
always sounds good. And then when it gets trickled down to the people, then it's like $2 left.
hey,
it's
you
like
know,
what we used to talk about the old school NFL contracts, right? How much is guaranteed money, right? Before it would be like $80 million. And then the guarantee money is like $3 million. I was like, so what's the point of the 80 million? That's like the settlement right there. 2 billion, 4 billion. Well, what's actually going to get? I heard they started the building. I saw a video that one house was being rebuilt because I guess there was a lot of fear that it would have been lost. Oh, Yahweh. Nacho, we just started, but they get hola goy, eh? Look at this guy. He's Nacho's not. Don't be that guy, Nacho. It's like go to the
hold it down for San Bernardino, Nacho.
Who big dog ba alo ay big asi.
I'm gonna more ay be a Nacho heponi. Yahweh. But yeah, I mean, do you think schools in like Kahuku? I think there's enough talent. I don't think it'll hurt them. But with the recruiting that's going to happen nationwide for high schools, I wonder how much impact that'll have.
You know, I think the fact that they're getting so much national attention,
that is going to help.
You know, they're going to be just fine. And the brand that they've built. You know, I've asked some of the kids that would go and play for for Kahuku, and you know, this is actually one of the things. I know they got the new field and stuff and everything, but I actually miss when the little kids would play in the end zones, you know, on the two ends, and then before the start of the game, and then at halftime, all the little kids would line up from the locker room to the field, and they would, you know, everyone
the players
would touch
running.
touch the Red Raiders when they ran out onto the field. And I hopefully they kind of bring back some of that stuff. They're kind of like super protective of their new field and stuff and everything. But when as a little kid, right, when you're 3, 4, 5, 6 years old, and you see those guys playing on the field like that, it gets set in their minds and in their hearts that they want to be a Red Raider. And you have a bunch of kids that come back from Kamehameha, Punahou, St. Louis, that, you know, because they want to close out their high school careers as a Red Raider. So I think as long as you give them the best opportunity to get noticed on the national stage, I think they'll continue to draw talent. Because I know kids that have left here from Utah to go play there, you know. So
no, and that's why I'm asking the question, and that may be the drive to get the nationwide games. Because if you don't give your kids that opportunity, they're going to leave you to go somewhere to get that opportunity. And that's why I was kind of asking. Let's go through a couple of these comments here real quick before they get too far away from us. They come back from town to Kahuku because they failed their grades.
Hey, Isaiah, what? Hey,
Isaiah. Hey, no haymakers. Only jab. Isaiah, don't make the Red Raiders. They might run away too soon. Isaiah.
This is what we say.
I think Kahuku stole some of Isaiah's best players, maybe from the Big Island. So I said, hasn't forgiven Kahuku yet.
Yeah. Hey, like they always say, hey, football's always first. Football's first, and then if football is not good, then maybe you should think of another school to do your academics. But if football's the first thing you want to do, just Kahuku seems to be the place.
I'd probably say that is a struggle there. That is something that if you could point to the biggest weakness that Kahuku has, it's their academic performance level. Like they have,
but that's all public schools in Hawaii. That's not just a Kahuku problem.
Yeah,
that's not a Kahuku problem. It's the whole public system in Hawaii.
Yeah, shoot. Yeah. I did a summer school so I could get my senior classes taken care of. What's the name of the high school close to
Kalani?
Dude, Kalani. And then I met some of the students. I was like, Mashi, Kalani. Hey, Nelly, academics, another Red Raider joining us. Hi, Nelly.
Hey, hi,
good to
Nelly.
See you. There's another comment. Biggest high school football upset, Kahuku over John Bosco, number 3, ranked in the nation. 100% Water Bears, and welcome back, Water Bears. He's a regular.
Yeah, Malo Water Bears.
Malo. We have some questions here to discuss a little bit of the NRL coming up in Vegas before we get into 2025.
Hey, does that mean Loma, you coming? You coming to Vegas, or
Warriors are going?
Hey, maybe. Hey, Loma, if you come to Vegas, the rule is you have to go back. I know too many people come to Vegas and then they get lost in Vegas and can't find their way back. So hopefully Loma can make it out here, but then we'll make sure he gets back home safe.
Yeah, so I just wanted to pull up. I'm definitely a Warriors fan. I'm hoping to go to Vegas this coming year. I was thinking about it this year, but nah. But I think with the Warriors coming, I'm gonna put that in my calendar to try and make it. But right now, man, I don't know. I used to think the Storm and the Panthers were like probably gonna be them to be the champion, but the Roosters and the Sharks have done really well the last few weeks. And then even the Bulldogs are peaking at the right time. I don't know. It's getting a little not so clear for me. Any thoughts on the top 8 here?
Of course, the Warriors sitting there at number 13 is kind of a disappointment, especially with how well they did last year. I'm not sure exactly what's kind of going on there. The Storm are really kind of coming back in form to where they kind of used to be. You can see, it kind of feels like you can see a little bit of maybe some of the talent that the Panthers have lost to other teams. But man, that's a surprise with the Bulldogs there, and their climb to number 5. I forget the name of the gentleman who went back. He was with the Warriors kind of through their kind of through COVID, and then he ended up going back to Australia when COVID kind of shut down everything. But he's been there a couple of years now, and it seems like he's really made an impact and a difference with the organization there. I know he was also there with the Panthers kind of previously. It's kind of interesting to see some of these leaders kind of move through the different organizations. Now that the NRL is really kind of starting to grow, I think you've got to have at least 20 to 24 teams to kind of give enough of an ecosystem for leaderships to really emerge. But I don't know who's going to take credit for the rise of the Bulldogs there. I think you got to give it to Ivan Cleary with the Panthers and holding that together, and his son. What's his son's name?
Nathan.
Yeah.
Man, I haven't been able to follow this as closely as I would like. But then the former Warriors head coach who's gone over to the Cowboys seems to be having a pretty positive impact there.
Yeah, number 6 in the top 8.
Kind of consistently getting the Cowboys into the postseason.
Yeah, my only beef with that, it seems like the relationship ever since he came over soured with Jason Taumalolo. That relationship with them two hasn't really fleshed out.
It'd be interesting to kind of hear more about what's kind of going on there. The fact that they're in the top 6 is a pretty big deal, because if you're in the top 6, you get an additional home game. So the economics of it become very, very important, ending the regular season in the top 6. So
no, I was gonna say.
I mean, they have their new stadium. They have their new stadium up there. So being able to get that additional home game is a big deal for the community and the economics of the new facility that they have there. So, I mean, that's kind of a tough one, right? You're kind of looking at relationships like Tom Brady and Bill Belichick.
Now we look back, that wasn't as tough as it looked. It just looked tough. But now we know Brady was the X factor.
Pretty much.
This is where I kind of disagree with that. The new rules that they kind of brought to the game have kind of phased out kind of you look at the success of all the major coaches in the NFL right now. They're all offensive brains, right? They're all guys like Andy Reid, right? As Bill Belichick has kind of descended. The offensive-minded coaches like the Shanahan, like Mike, over at Miami. Everybody who's kind of the top 10 coaches in the NFL right now. I think like 9 of them are all offensive head coaches, and that's because of the rule changes that they've made to preserve the big names in the on the offense. Because if Tom Brady doesn't play, if Aaron Rodgers doesn't play, ratings drop like 25%, right? So they do things to the game, and it'd be interesting to see how the NRL kind of adjusts to that as well, because you want to make rule changes to preserve your stars. So like sometimes when you see in the NRL with rugby league, when Ivan Cleary, Nathan Cleary will get hit after he's kicked the ball. I think that's something that you got to get rid of in rugby league, because it's going to have the same thing. If you have him out of, I bet if you watch the games, the television ratings for Nathan Cleary when he's not playing, I bet you there is a substantial drop in the television ratings for the Panther games. And that's why the NFL went down. That's why the NFL went down that route, was to do that. And as they've done that, you've seen the ascendancy of offensive coaches in the NFL.
Yeah. Hey, Billy, welcome. Marlo. Billy is definitely a Chiefs fan. Wanted to make a shout out to his defense there.
That is 100% correct. But again, that happens under the genius of Andy Reid.
Well, here's the thing, though. Statistically speaking, Dak Prescott is a better quarterback than Mahomes. Statistically speaking.
Oh my goodness! Wait!
Just go off numbers.
Wait, if you just go off
that?
No, it's Lee. It's hold on. Well, you're not paying attention to what's being expressed here. Statistically speaking, when you look at completion, you look at yards and so forth, it's actually very close. But we're obviously it's more than just numbers, because obviously Mahomes performs obviously better in the playoffs. But what I'm getting to is in the statistics, it really still the stand still stands. Defense is what wins championships. Offense sells tickets. But my only thing with the position that you shared is they've been making offensive rules forever. That's nothing new. Defenses have always been saying every rule change has always been in the favor of the offense.
Yes. And again, why? Because the NFL is in the business of making money and entertaining fans. Right. And that's why I'm saying, like, the fans want to see their stars play. And just by nature of the game, quarterbacks are the major stars. And if you don't 100%, if you don't have your quarterback playing, the NFL takes a major hit ratings wise.
Well, and that's the thing is, and that's because I think I take the position that the American consumer of sports is, I don't think Australia is there yet. I don't think ratings take a hit with Cleary yet, because they haven't gotten to that level. Like, Americans are so attached. They are so attached that they almost consider Tom Brady like their brother over their real brother. Like, they're so attached.
No, it's crazy.
It's crazy.
You know how it's like, the wait list for the Green Bay Packers for season tickets. It's like 32 years or something.
Yeah.
Right. So you have families that when in Green Bay, when your baby is born, the first thing you do, even before, if you're Catholic, before you take your baby to go get baptized in the Catholic Church, you take your baby to go sign up for season tickets. Hopefully by the time they're 35, they're able to get season tickets. But I mean, like season tickets, like, when someone dies and they kind of like, leave their season tickets, it breaks up families, because like being a Packer fan and a cheesehead is more important than the relationship they have with brothers and sisters and everybody else. And it's it's at that kind of Australia, as far as the fanatic, the fans that are fanatics, Australia has that, but it's just a pure function of the size of the market. Like LA, just the LA metro area has close to 20 million people, right? Australia has like 25 million people. The market of the Los Angeles area, I think the GDP of LA is bigger than the GDP of Australia nationally, right? They have 50 million people that go through that airport. I think they have 10, 15 million people that visit Australia every year.
Yeah.
So
and they just don't have that attachment yet. But Masi, what are your thoughts? As from down under.
No. I was just gonna say that with the whole Belichick and Tom Brady stuff, I think as a defensive coach, you can still be successful. I think he just understood that he made the wrong choice on emphasizing that Tom Brady was done, and obviously
Yeah.
Tom Brady was the reason why. And no, it just makes to me any special teams. I think the Baltimore head coach, he's a special teams coach. To me, as long as you have a quarterback, because it's a quarterback, if you just pick the right quarterback, you can win as an
Yeah.
offense
Well,
or
yeah.
defense. So
Well, then,
to me, as long as you
yeah.
get a quarterback, you're gonna win.
You
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 know,
you can be a defensive coach,
yeah,
hire a very offensive-minded offensive coordinator, and let
yeah,
them run the show, do the entertainment. I personally think Belichick thought he was the bigger reason for the success and said, I can win with another quarterback. And he soon
Yeah.
found out, no,
I
Tom
think
Brady is not just another quarterback. He is
yeah,
probably the greatest of all time.
Tom Brady's special. Did they even make it? I think they only went to the playoffs once since Tom Brady left.
I don't even know if they ever made the playoffs, to be honest. If they did, it's only
I don't
once.
know.
I
Yeah.
I kind of want to go to Billy's comment there on the scrum in rugby union. There's a couple of challenges there with the scrum in rugby union. One of the problems is how many front rowers have you ever seen referee a rugby game? Right? You never do. Right? You
No.
know, I mean, how many times do you see like locks referee a rugby game at the pro level? Usually, it's all backs, right? So I think there's a challenge there with referees even understanding what the heck is going on in the scrum. I love the gamesmanship. I played number 7, so I was an open side flanker for off of that. So you kind of get familiar with what's going on in the scrum, but I think it's problematic where you have the sideline refs and the center ref pretty much all backs, right? Because there's a fitness test to it, and you never have a number 2, a front rower, even a second rower who referees these games, and I think it becomes a challenge because you really don't understand what's happening there and who actually should be penalized or shouldn't be penalized, and I think it kind of ruins the game a little bit.
No, 100%. That's the reason why league has evolved and the scrums kind of moved out, because league is much more focused on the product and the fluidity. Brown Monk, I don't know. There's been a lot of great QBs that haven't won. We don't disagree. Need more than a QB. 100%.
100%.
100%. No disagreement there. Wada Bears, don't lose your visa too soon. Remember, this is a digital Kava session, and the spouse can edit or audit the Kava session. Wada Bears.
It's kind of funny because both American football and rugby league originally came from a rugby union, right? So American football, you can say, is American rugby in a sense, but they kind of evolved very differently because rugby league and American football needed the economics of the game to make sense. Right. So the NFL was started in the 1920s. And so I think they paid way closer attention to what their fans were telling them. And I think rugby union really struggles with hearing what the fans want and need. And that's where I think you see some of those challenges.
Oh, yeah. Way. Nacho, thank you for the investigations. Wada Bears, let us know if someone needs to do CPR. We're sending Nacho. We're sending Nacho. If it was spiked and you need some first aid assistance, Nacho will take care of you. Or it's either that or we made it a little too taufua as you requested, Nacho. And then I also say, wait a minute, the bag that we started with was from Nacho. Should we be investigating and have Nacho explain why Wada Bears is behaving this way?
Kuhain na spike Kava mo fentanyl. Now what fentanyl? Wow, get Kava.
Oh yeah, I don't want anyone to talk about the fentanyl because I'm the one closest to the border. Everybody's gonna think I'm the culprit. Yeah, oh yeah, I only do talk. Yahweh. I heard that's very effective.
Usually everybody puts the hand compressions on the chest. But Nacho, yo, I bet the hand compressions on the I bet will do right on the mouth. Nacho.
Yeah, I mean, coming back to, we were talking, I think on 2 live sessions ago, or maybe it was the last one. Masi, was it on the last one? It's been a long day. Like I was telling Masi just before we jumped on, I had almost nonstop meetings from like 9 o'clock in the morning until like 6, and I was having a hard time even finishing sentences. I'm shocked. I'm able to communicate now because I was struggling to close it. But
well, I see that Mountain Dew bottle on your desk right there. Dude. Is that Mountain Dew or what?
Yeah, it's Mountain Dew. This is number 2 because my favorite is the Code Red, but they don't make the big bottles, and I needed a big one. So I drank the small Code Red, down that, and then finished the night with that. Looks like we have.
Have you guys heard of Have you guys heard of Bucked Up?
No, what is that?
I've heard of it. It's like an energy drink.
Yeah, hold on. Let me grab mine. I just picked it up today.
Here, oh Yahweh, Brown Monk. What's the situation? Oh Yahweh. Let me see. Richard, one of the Fale Boys, Malo Toko. I'm Water Bears. The PR for the Polynesian. 100%. This is the official PR rep. Any announcement, any type of official communication, Mo ni Malo Water Bears for reminding.
All we do is just stamp it.
Stamp. No, that's a good point. That's a good point, Lee. We do need to update you on some official business for the Kava sessions. Water Bears just wants us to remind everyone. Oh, actually, I've seen that on the was it Mentaiteo? That show that we watched. That was the sponsor for that show.
Oh, was Bucked Up?
Was Bucked Up, yeah. But before we get too far, want to remind everyone that our official PR rep is Water Bears, and any official communications that need to be announced, we need to funnel it through Water Bears, and then Masi's job is to officially stamp and go. Public. And looks like Nacho said he's the spectator. For now, we'll keep you the spectator. Oh Yahweh. Last time go Water Bears na may revoke the visa from his spouse. But hopefully Nacho, you're not there. Last one here, and then we'll go to the buck. Is why is the PR get in trouble? That's a good question. I think when we did the official selection process, Brown Monk, we didn't do a full background check on Water Bears, but once you cast the vote, it's too late. We're gonna have to work with Water Bears and make it happen. You have our full support, Water Bears. Go ahead, Lee. Just wanted to catch up on those comments before we get too far. So it's a supplement.
Oh yeah. This is a pre-workout. Their headquarters is right down the street, and I've been driving by it for a long time, and so I just kind of wanted to stop by and see what they had, because it seems to be growing. Like I'm seeing more and more people wearing their swag and stuff and everything. More and more guys are drinking their energy drinks and stuff and everything. So I just kind of wanted to see what their product was like. I got one of their energy drinks today, and it is pretty good.
Hey, Ikani, welcome. We would like to give you your official cup today. Nacho, he will deliver to you your digital Kava cup, and he specifically requested it for it to be taufua. So malo Ikani, welcome. So I mean, it's gonna be interesting. There's a lot of new contracts being signed and moving along across the sports. I think I don't know if it's just the algorithms that are picking it up, but my Facebook, my X feed is packed with NRL signings, and also in the NFL, a lot of exciting things happening. So it's really just cool to see all the Polynesian athletes really doing really well.
Mm.
Yeah, and I mean that's going to just expand and grow. The interesting thing is that the NFL is also making a concerted effort to have a bigger presence in New Zealand and Australia. You know, this is Jordan Mailata is always kind of my main example for kind of what happened there. But Jordan Mailata was the first time ever that a player who never played football before got drafted. You know, so and then he comes in the first football game he ever plays in his life is an NFL preseason game. I think it was against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Maybe it was either them or the Cleveland Browns or something. And then, you know, you fast forward like 3 or 4 years later, now he's the starting left tackle in the NFL. So I think they kind of understand that probably in the Pacific Island community, you have a really, really good chance of picking up people who could literally walk in off the street and make an NFL roster.
That's pretty crazy.
That is insane. Like I don't think people generally understand how crazy that prospect is, given the level of skill, coaching, and time commitment that's required for that. I mean,
well, see, and that's the interesting thing is that is how off the charts the physical attributes are, right? And the mental and the emotional that goes with it.
And this is left tackle.
Yeah,
I mean, you can argue that probably that's
right after the QB. That's your next guy.
Right after the QB, right? It's your left tackle, and so for him to come in and be the starting left tackle of the Philadelphia Eagles, never having played a football game ever in his life, and the first one he ever did play was in the NFL, is
impressive.
Well, and I don't know if you guys know, but you know they're opening up a new NFL, kind of like an IMG, but in Australia in the Gold Coast. So I predict this: if the NFL refines its pathway, especially New Zealand and Australia, I'm telling you, the participation of Polynesian athletes, I think it's gonna get close to 45. Like it's because I'm telling you the abilities of Australian Polynesians and New Zealand, because there's a high concentration of them, it's only gonna get better. And that's why if Union and League, if they don't figure out how to generate a lot of revenue and grow as quickly, dude, the NFL is only gonna get bigger.
Well, I'd be willing to bet this. There's 10 to 20 first round draft picks walking around the streets of Auckland, Sydney, Brisbane, and Melbourne right now.
Yeah,
you know, you look at the success Daniel Fa'alele is having over with the Baltimore Ravens. Again, you know,
and then that young guy that just signed as a free agent with the Eagles.
Yeah, that
Tongan guy.
Well, and then you had the one that was drafted by the Detroit Lions from British Columbia.
Yeah, that Mandu guy we talked about.
That's the Tongan kid. That's the Tongan kid from Canada.
Yeah, the Tongan kid from Canada, first time ever drafted from that university, and. Oh, talk about the Detroit Lions. This might be their year. I mean, it's
it's going to be interesting.
The wins of that front office in the draft over the past couple of years is amazing. So that kind of puts me a lot of credit. They traded what, a third or fourth round pick to move up and take that Manu Giovanni kid.
Yeah.
So they're pretty bullish on it. Hey, Water Bears, did you approve this? We asked for a digital Kava cup to Ikani, and Nacho says it's a cash app. We might have to have you dig into that a little bit, Water Bears, of Papapau. Here's another question that I think kind of related to the discussions we're having. I gotta go back, and sorry, I'm just pulling up some of the comments as we go. But here's the question that came up. Is rugby league trying to tap into the U.S. market, or is it just another quick money-making move from the NRL? Any thoughts?
It's a smart move. You know, I mean, I can understand the reasoning why the NRL would want to do that. When the NFL starts showing up in your backyard and starts taking players, it's a problem. But the NRL needs to kind of understand the challenges that they face. Madden football, the video game, is always a top 5, top 10 video game that sells in New Zealand and Australia. The NBA 2K is another top video game that is sold out there. the consumption, right, without spending a single dollar. I think the Super Bowl in Australia had an audience of like 600,000 viewers, which exceeds the average viewership of like of NRL games. And so I can see the pressure that the NRL is feeling from the presence of American sports in New Zealand and Australia, major markets for them. And they also see the opportunity. Remember, there's about 15,000 athletes that are eligible for the NFL draft every year. And the NFL will only take 200 or 300 of those 15,000. So you have an enormous pool. You have 14,700 kids every year that are fantastic athletes that could the BYU girl that
on the national team for
basketball
sevens.
player. Right, yeah. She was a basketball player, and she's coaching in San Diego, and the next thing you know, she's a bronze medalist in the Olympics. Right? So, I mean, and that's just the football level of kids, right? That doesn't include potential wrestlers you could tap in as athletes, lacrosse players, basketball players. I mean, there's a whole list of tens of thousands of American athletes that you can tap into that have nowhere to go as a professional athlete. And if the NRL is able to establish themselves here, I think you have the potential for them to become a much more successful sport than rugby union, which has been trying for decades and decades and just can't seem to get the traction necessary. But I think rugby league, you know, if you're sitting down and you're watching a rugby league game with an American who has never seen the game before in their life, after 15 to 20 minutes, they understand everything they need to know about the game in order to enjoy consuming that content. Which rugby union, I mean, you can spend years and years playing and watching the game, and you still struggle with what was that called? What were they doing?
Yeah, it's like pass interference.
Yeah, I mean, it's
You will never know when it is and when it isn't.
So, and again, to Loma's question with to tap into the U.S. market, like, I mean, you take one NFL team is larger than the entire NRL combined, right? And you have 32 NFL teams. Roger Goodell last year or the year before came out and said he wants 4 NFL franchises in Europe. It's they sell out every single game that they play in London. Now they're taking games to Germany. They're already planning on taking games to Madrid, Spain. So
Brazil, they're also playing games in Brazil.
They're going to be playing games in Brazil. I mean, what you have to do is you have to roll the dice on some of these things, and there is definitely an opportunity for rugby league to get a foothold in the United States if you do it well. I mean, I think they're probably paying a lot more than they could or should, and they should probably take a different route with getting there. But they have to try. 100%, they have to try. If I was the NRL, I would not have brought the big brands that they did this last go around. I mean, that, those big brands would, they brought the Brisbane Broncos, they brought the Roosters, the Rabbitohs. Those are some of the biggest brands that the NRL has to offer. That'd be like taking the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Giants and the San Francisco 49ers to play a game in Sydney, Australia, which you would never see happen, right? I mean, I watched the University of California, the Bears, play the University of Hawaii in Sydney, Australia a few years ago, and 62,000 people showed up to watch that game.
Wow,
right?
That's pretty impressive.
And who's Cal? Who cares about Cal?
Nobody.
Nobody. Yeah. Cal's like a
they can't even sell out their own.
It was a Pac-12 school.
Yeah, they can't sell out
Yeah, and I don't know. I guess some of my thoughts are it's a lot easier to pack out if you're coming once in a while. It's a big investment to start up. I mean, they had the Canadian Football League. I mean, they've tried that. It wasn't the most successful for me. I think the NRL should do what they're doing. For me, if they're serious, they need to do this for at least 5 years. These games.
Yeah, which they've committed to, which is what.
And that's that's good. And I think there's 2 things that they should work towards. is, number one, see if they can engage and have more TV or online subscriptions by doing this, and maybe get some eyeballs and get some money that way. And also get a couple billionaires interested in it, where you could get some big billionaires to hopefully get excited and fund it. But it's high risk for the NRL to take their own money and try and grow outside.
I think they kind of came in at they're bringing their number one product. And they brought it to the Raiders. The Raiders are one of the biggest brands that the NFL does have to offer, especially at the international level. They bring them into
the pop culture. Tied to it.
There's some. They should come in, kind of at the. They should support the high school level rugby league. Get that out. That's what we're working on. High school level rugby league, collegiate rugby league. Kind of follow a little bit of the NFL format at a fraction of the price of what they're doing to put on these games. It's not bad, but there's also you got to kind of build a runway, because even the television ratings for those games, although they set records in Australia, but I think cornhole. I think cornhole, pro cornhole had like 10 times more viewers than those NRL games here in the US. So they kind of need to plant a bunch more seeds here in order to kind of really get the results that they're looking for. But 100% the opportunity is there, and the NRL has to roll the dice on the US market. There's no way around that.
No, 100%. Any comments there, Masi? And then we'll catch up on a couple comments.
Oh, no. I think it's good that the rugby league tries to at least give the consumer of the U.S. market another contact sport, because I think there is a need, because if the NFL decides to get more woke, at least somebody can go, has another
standing
option
in the background.
Yes, and I think good competition is always good, because the NFL is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So to me, this is a good thing that the NRL, and hopefully it becomes successful. Obviously, it's gonna take a huge amount of commitment, because I think we kind of touched on it. The U.S. consumer, the way they know about your stats, they know what you need to, your techniques, and just the sport. From living in New Zealand and the way they talk about rugby, the fan is not on that level.
No,
how they scrutinize, and how they even critique. Like the fans in the U.S., when they critique guys, it's like
serious.
It's almost like an analyst coaching on the side of your position. So that's what it's the standard of the U.S. consumer is really high, and I hope the NRL is. That's why I'm saying it's going to take a lot of commitment, because the standard of understanding of a typical U.S. fan compared to outside the world is a huge
pretty high. And just to kind of go with what you're saying, Masi, go on YouTube and look at how many casual viewers have analysis. They have video. They break down film. They talk, and that's why I'm saying, like, the NRL and rugby union. And I agree here with Brown Monk. NRL has a better chance because it's a better product. It's more engaging, and it's a simpler thing, and it's more entertaining. MBM, welcome, and there are some exciting major events coming up in the next couple years with the Rugby World Cup, Rugby League World Cup in Australia. I think Australia officially took on hosting that. That's good for the Polynesian teams, right? Whenever it's in the Pacific, those are always great. Aaron, yes, we were finally able to make contact.
Hey, you guys should be sleep. What are you guys doing up? Can you guys stop wasting time and go get some sleep already?
Get some sleep.
Weekend.
And kind of this is kind of one of my criticisms of what the NRL is doing, in my opinion. I think you can go to a smaller. To me, it's more important to pack a house than it is to go to a big event.
They didn't sell out.
I agree with that 100%. Guess what the average? What would you say? Do you know what the average attendance is at NRL games?
I don't know, maybe around 15, 12,000.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
15, 16,000.
Well,
right?
no, I was gonna say, Lee. I was gonna say that the Warriors is the only NRL team to sell
Sold
out
out.
every
Yeah.
home game. So
Oh.
that's huge.
And that's I think the format that they have Mount Smart Stadium in, I think it's seats 20,000, right? Because they didn't bring out the other
Close
seats
to
for the
30.
other side.
Close to 30, yeah.
Oh, but did they stack the seats on the other side? Oh, okay,
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
Okay, so they're between 25 and 30,000.
Yeah.
The right, I mean, we're talking about like BYU football. If BYU football attendance drops below 50,000 in attendance, there's a panic.
Yeah.
Right? It's the 65,000 seat stadium. BYU, right? BYU's in the Big 12. You have, if you look at Major League Soccer, I think is a better comparison for the NRL and its potential in the U.S. The Major League Soccer average attendance in the U.S. is 18 to 22,000, right? So it's
MLS.
comparable.
Okay.
Yeah, but the minimum, the average price for a Major League Soccer franchise now is like 250 million, right? So you're looking at a range of 250
still
to
massive.
$400 million. That's and that's kind of going back to what Loma was asking before, is that the economics. If you were averaging 15,000 in attendance here in the U.S., your valuation would probably be in the 150 to $200 million range, if you were able to successfully get that off on the ground, right? And
yeah,
the New Zealand and Australia are just nowhere near that potential, and the U.S. has that. It's a few things, right? Like the United States still holds the record for the highest attendance soccer World Cup ever. That was in 1994. And it was off of that Major League Soccer started in 1995 or 1996. But the soccer World Cup is coming back to the U.S., and the U.S. still has the highest attended soccer World Cup in history.
Yeah. Water Bears, 100%. I mean, everybody recognizes there's high school rugby. And really the biggest challenges is what we're focusing on. I guess the majority of the discussion is the quality of the product and the ability of the product to compete with the American sports consumers' expectations. That's where the real challenge is in some of the conversations. AJ, welcome, AJ. Rugby union is bigger than both NRL and NFL. I guess if you're talking about global footprint, yes, but dollar value and franchise, it's not the same.
I mean, that's a hard case to make, because if you look at the number of views on a global basis, more people watch the NFL than watch rugby union. If you watch interactions with fans, right, the NFL interacts with more fans on a global basis than rugby union does. I mean, and it's not even close. Like we're talking billions of interactions more on the NFL side.
But that's because it's a high volume of interactions with the smaller pool. I mean, you got to have access to internet and all that stuff. I'm
even talking like, if you look at Super Rugby, the NFL interacts more with fans in Australia than Super Rugby does. And I haven't looked at like New Zealand closely yet. I would imagine that probably rugby union still exceeds that. But the rate of growth of interaction with NFL content in New Zealand is growing. And it's growing a lot. There's a reason why the NFL put a full-time employee in Australia, and it's because the NFL sees the potential of the market there in Australia. So even across like Germany, you give me one rugby union game that had 700,000 people in line to buy tickets to, right? None. There wasn't a single rugby union game in all of Europe on the planet that had that many people lined up to buy tickets to. And so, I mean, rugby union, maybe if you want to say maybe total number of people that play it.
No, that's what I was saying earlier. If you're talking about just rugby union fan, yes. But in regards to exposure, dollar value of franchises and so forth, it's not even close. Rugby union's not even. I mean, the NRL alone makes so many other competitions look kind of silly. To me, that's the best domestic competition. Hey, Brian Sigimeti, welcome. Malo,
Brian.
Hey, Malo O'Brien.
What rugby needs to do in the USA is run a campaign teaching the public the rules, and that's the thing. Kind of like was mentioned earlier, it's complicated and it's not very new viewer friendly. Any thoughts, Masi?
No, no, not, and this is what I was gonna say. It's even before you go playing the rules. There's certain rules the U.S. consumer would question, like the rule of having a red card or a yellow card, and then your team has to play the rest of the game with a man down. I don't think
Yeah,
a U.S. that would turn a U.S. consumer like,
say
dude,
that doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
this is still community and a fun. This is not a competition. No, I'm just
It's not
no, and
professional yet.
yeah, and
yeah.
it
Can
still
you
blows
imagine?
my mind. It still blows my mind that the World Rugby, that the All Blacks played the entire final game with 14
Man
men,
down.
and South Africa was gifted with that thing. And then it was like it was not really talked about. It was just kind of
Yeah,
like,
I can
well, it's
see.
the rules. It's the
Can
rules.
you
And
imagine?
yeah,
And I think it's also kind of a testament to how far behind rugby union is as far as like the coaching level goes and stuff and everything.
mm,
Can you imagine an NFL team or an NBA team playing with one man down? The score would be through the roof. There, you cannot at that level of competition. You cannot play with one man down. There is. I don't care if you're the worst team in the NBA, right? You take the bottom team in the NBA, you
Yeah,
take the champion team of the NBA, you give them a red card, and that champion team has to play with only 4 players.
the
The
bottom
game's
guys are
done.
probably going to win. Yeah,
Yeah, you take the worst team in the NFL, and you take the Super Bowl champions, and the Super Bowl champions only have 10 players. Bro, the worst team in the NFL is going to win hands down, and it's not even going to be close.
and that comes back to the quality of the product,
yeah,
the high level of competition. American sports is at it really is at a
It's at a
level
different
where
level.
those little things matter. Those little
yeah.
Yeah.
things will tip the table in one favor.
What they need to do in both rugby league and rugby union is go the kind of the NFL collegiate football route. Is if you get ejected from the game, only that player can't play. So you can
Yeah.
bring in a sub, right? So it's going to be your second
Second
guy,
string. Yeah.
but at least make it a game. I can't remember like how many whenever I watch a rugby union game, once the red card comes out, like in the first half, I stop watching because to me it's not a competition anymore. It was the same, it was the same thing in that World Cup when New Zealand got that red card. It's like I'm done. Like
Yeah.
nobody in their right mind is going to believe like this is a real game anymore.
How many
Same thing
people?
with the state of origin.
That's
That-
what I was going
Hey,
to say.
well, here. Well, this kind of sucks a little bit for Warriors fans, but I think the Warriors were playing the Sharks, and the Sharks were down 2 players, and the Sharks still won. So it was 13 to 11.
just this
The
year.
Warriors.
Just this year.
Was that this year? No,
Yeah.
it was last year.
Oh, it was last year. Okay, I can't remember because I
Yeah,
know
I
they
can't remember when, but it was the Warriors still kind of no, it wasn't last year either. Remember they had a great. It was like 2 years ago,
Okay.
2 or 3
Yeah,
years
and
ago.
and that's the thing is, how many people do you think turned off the TV because the state of origin is so competitive?
Yeah.
Once that red
Oh.
card was given, everybody knew, oh yeah, the Blues are gonna lose.
Yeah,
There's no doubt. How many people just like tuned
You
out
can't-
or turned off the TV
you
at that
can't
point?
do that. You can't destroy the opposition's ability to truly compete and
Yeah.
expect to really have your fans engage and to materially engage your content. So that red card thing's got to go.
Yeah. Yeah. And another thing that I feel like before you like go to the rules, I'm not a fan of rugby having somebody who's not part of the field calling, like when they go to the video ref and he's like up in the stands. It's better. I like how the NFL does it, that the actual ref who knows how the feel of the game is going, that you bring a monitor and he looks and he makes the call, especially when they make a challenge or whatever. Because
Oh,
sometimes the video
instead of
ref, yes, because it's like two separate ref, and then whatever the ref says from whatever his bunker, whatever, he's not part of the field. He's just looking on.
700 miles away.
Yes, and he makes the call and says, "Come back." I don't like that. It's better to leave one ref than if he makes a challenge. Have like they usually go under the camera or video stuff, and then they
And
look,
watch the
and then the
replay.
ref who knows how it's going can make the call right then and there. To me, I think
Yeah.
that's a That's another thing that probably will need to change. But yeah.
Not 100%, 100%. Let's see. Is there any other topics that Lee you want to discuss? Anything else comes to mind?
Shoot, we're already at an hour and 20 minutes. Man, that flew by
Dude.
pretty fast.
Dude, that's why our Kava sessions, like some people's like, hey, how long? I think it was Alexander. When he first joined, he's like, hey, how long is this gonna last? Can I start a bucket? And I said anywhere between an hour and a half and 3 hours is our typical session.
Well, I was. What are you guys' thoughts with the whole? Now that Australia has won the rights to host the Rugby League World Cup, is it time for
Well, did
Mate
they?
Matonga? Is it
I can't say. Did they win the rights or?
They were
well the rights
picking
of
someone to take it.
Yeah.
yes, picking somebody, picking somebody. Well, I was gonna say,
Oh, real quick, let's go through Brown Monk. It's like the ref is making the call from Manua for a game being played in Tonga. Yeah, hey,
yeah,
the only problem is that's like the Tui Manua making a call for the Tui Tonga, except the Tui Manua Empire didn't exist, Brown Monk. Anyways, go Masi, go Masi.
no. So now that the Australia is gonna host the Rugby League World Cup, I think it's time for Mate Matonga because we still have the athletes. It's time for Mate Matonga to move on from their head coach Christian Wolf, because he's already had 2 tries. And I mean, no, this is kind of, and this is probably another growing that Mate Matonga has to do. Instead of, we've always been grateful for the crumbs, and it's time to graduate. Like, okay, we deserve better. We got to think like the big boys, and there's a growing pain. There's a growing to that. So I'm just thinking, Christian Wolf. Hopefully, he steps down and doesn't have to be forced and use the players as his shield to kind of
Yeah.
keep him in his because
Masi,
it seems like he's using the players to keep his job or
Masi,
something.
you can do the Nancy Pelosi and just pull the trigger and tell him he's got to go.
No, no, and that's the thing. That's another growing thing, for especially with league now that every team has a good shot. Especially what the NRL has, what 60% of Polynesians that's in NRL.
Yeah,
There's
Is
so
it up
much.
to 60 already? Is it up to 60?
Yeah,
Polynesian and native. So if you add the Aborigines, it's at
Oh,
60%. So
yeah,
indigenous,
yeah.
it's off the
Yeah.
charts.
No, and that's what I'm saying. There's the talent is abundance that you can pick from. So we need to graduate, especially, and
Okay,
it looks like Toa Samoa is gonna do well. They're gonna keep things going because they have momentum. But
Masi, can I
Matema
can
Tonga,
I make a case for Christian Wolf or
okay.
okay? Here's my case for Christian Wolf. Why I'm willing to keep him a little bit longer. I do agree. We need to get past. It seems like we're stuck, right? We're stuck at quarterfinals. We do need to get beyond that, or semifinal, right? The furthest we got is a semifinal, and then did really poorly on the last one compared to that fantastic first World Cup with him. He's an assistant coach with the Dolphins. The Dolphins are knocking on the
And
door.
heir apparent, right? He's the heir
Yes,
apparent.
he's the heir apparent, and it sounds like Bennett is already out the door to the Rabbitohs next year. So he'll be coaching. He's with the young half, Zekatoa. So building a good relationship there. I mean, the guy did win multiple championships in Super League, right? He won it like 2 or 3 years in a row before he came back to the NRL. So he does have I think an understanding of how to win at the club level. Now international is a different level, but how many coaches that have won the World Cup can we get access to?
Yeah. I kind of agree with Tua there. If I mean, you have to show me a better plan. You know what I mean?
Well,
If you get rid of him, then who's going to
well,
step up?
yeah. No, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure there's gonna be, we can get somebody in an NRL position that's won consistently that will be
Mm,
attracted to play from or coach Matimato. Like I said,
Yeah, if
yeah.
they say the
Matimatonga,
talent's going to come. Yeah.
yes.
Right, because I
It's
mean,
almost
right? That is a good point, Mushy. Because right, how many guys can coach the Kangaroos? Only one,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. No, and that's what I'm saying. The we Tonga. I mean, the Matimatonga brand is pretty attractive, and the amount of talents, and just seeing a bunch of Tongan guys dominating the NRL level, that's already declared themselves that they're gonna play for Matema Tonga. To me, I don't. It's not gonna be difficult. Yes, he's won in Europe, but we know that's not the premier. That's not the
That's not
premier
the
rugby
NRL.
league. Yes,
Yeah, but it's the
but
next best thing, though.
yes, yes,
Well, and I will say this, in the club challenge, it's actually not solely dominated by the NRL champion.
true.
Yeah.
When they do the European champion usually does pretty decent against the NRL champion.
True, but yeah, no, I'm just saying. Christian Wolf. There's many. Probably we can get better, and actually, somebody that's been there. And like I said, we only have a short amount of time. We don't know if things can change. Things, you never know. But I just
Yeah,
think,
Jason
that-
Taumalolo's getting older. Andrew
yeah,
Fifita's retired. It
yes, and
looks like there's a good chance that what's the the center for the Broncos who went to the he went to the Aussies on this round. He's probably
Kaufusi guy, Felice
no,
Kaufusi.
no, no. He's with the
Oh,
Dolphins.
He's with the
yes,
Dolphins.
that Stags, Kotoni
Yes,
Stags.
and look, I think there's a good chance he's going to shift back to Australia. Is what it's
Yeah.
kind of looking like.
No,
So
no, no, and then we'll get those ones that are like that are like kind of mixed, and then and then we only have one opportunity because we only played for Matematonga that last time, when they played in England or whatever.
mhm.
See, and then he's like what you said, the trajectory, or he's kind of trending to be more in Australia, and yeah, I'm just saying
What do you guys think about
we don't have
Andrew?
time. We don't have time to kind of just
Shoot,
wait and see, but.
who's the guy that plays with the man? I'm struggling today
Who,
with the
Andrew Fifita?
Titans. Andrew, yeah, is no, his cousin. Andrew's already retired.
Yeah.
David,
Yeah,
David Fifita.
David Fifita.
have you guys
He was
heard anything as to whether he's leaning towards Tonga or Australia?
It's
Mm,
from what I heard is it's still Tonga. It's still
I hope so,
Tonga,
because
but
man, that guy's awesome. I love watching him,
it's crazy
yeah.
he wasn't
Yeah.
Selected for the
Here.
Queensland
dude.
Reds.
That
That's crazy.
is
Hey, here, I'll say this. Kind of going back to how the NFL kind of created rules specifically around to kind of help quarterbacks in the NFL play. I think these new rules in the NRL that have benefited kind of a whole bunch of like smaller guys, like, it kind of, I feel like it diminished the impact of guys like Jason Taumalolo. I think the NRL needs to bring back the opportunities to make stars like Jason Taumalolo. You need, I understand, right? You have these small, you got to look impressive, right? Like when outside fans see you, they got to be kind of blown away with your size, and I feel like these new rules that the NRL has kind of adopted, rugby league's kind of adopted with the, what is it, the 6 again rule. I kind of see that, but I feel like it's taken away the opportunity for big forwards like Jason Taumalolo to really shine. And I mean,
what does the 6 again? How does that take away from someone like Jason
well,
Taumalolo?
it's increased the speed of the game significantly, right? And so now it's much more beneficial to be smaller and fitter. It's kind of moving like a little bit more towards rugby sevens. Yeah, so it's kind of cut down the size. I bet if you measure the size of players now under these new rules, I would imagine they're probably anywhere from 5 to 12 pounds lighter than what they were before the rules. And I don't know. I kind of like the idea of having big monster stars like Jason Taumalolo in the NRL, because Sonny Bill Williams, Jason Taumalolo are guys that you can take around the United States and people will look at that guy and be like,
I'd say that's impressive. Yeah,
that's impressive. Like that's a world-class athlete. I wouldn't want to mess with him,
yeah.
That's a league player.
I think what the Australian market, hopefully they start realizing that as the NRL, the casual fan of the NRL continues to grow, they're going to go the same path. Australia seems to be like 15 years behind where the US is. In like 5 to 10 years, the association with players is going to be stronger rather than the team. Right now, it seems like the NRL and the Australian market is the team brand is like the most dominant thing. But it like basketball and stuff. It's when LeBron goes from one team to the next, millions of people go to the next team too.
I would, if I were in charge of the NRL, I would actually, in the NFL, the association with the team is greater than the association with the player. And I think as a business model, that is a more effective business model than having, because if, once LeBron James left like Cleveland or whatever, you see a massive, like when Jordan left the NBA, I think television ratings dropped like 30%. Like it was bad.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see those kinds of drops in the NFL. And that is because, but you cannot be afraid of stars, right? You got to have your stars. And I feel like rugby union especially, and rugby league to a lesser degree, are afraid of stars that might be bigger than the game. And unfortunately, that was the biggest problem that Lomu faced, and that was the biggest, that was the opportunity that rugby union really missed, is because they had a superstar that could have really taken could have taken the game to a different level. But I feel like rugby union actually feared him and the potential he had as a superstar. And NZRU,
I think that's a fair point. Yeah.
And NZRU really kind of didn't develop that opportunity as well. And I think they feared John Alomu more than they saw the opportunity that was there.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I mean, yeah, that's a fair point. I think from the owner and the team perspective, that's the position they want to stay in control. It's just, my observation is fewer and fewer people are having an association with a geographic location. I think people are moving around so much that is
your observation there.
Oh yeah, I'm from Pittsburgh and blah blah. Yeah, that's an old school thing. It's now people are more like, I really like this guy. That's why wherever he goes, I will support him.
Well, I hear. Your observation is correct. But I don't think it diminishes an attachment to an actual team and geographical location. What you're actually describing is the impact of fantasy football on the game, right? And that has been a massive, massive cash cow for the NFL, because now, instead of tiny regional teams like the Jacksonville Jaguars being completely irrelevant on the national stage, they become relevant because now you have Trevor Lawrence as a quarterback. Now you have millions of people across Washington, California, New York that have Trevor Lawrence as their fantasy team quarterback. So now you see, I don't think if you were to look at it, people following teams is here. I don't think that came down. What I think is you saw a massive jump in the significance and relevance of individual players, and how people follow them. So, and this is another massive, massive, massive shortfall for rugby league and rugby union, is they have not developed the technology around. The NRL tries to do it with fantasy rugby, but again, the teams, you don't have enough teams, and they haven't really invested in the technology to extract the value that the NFL and Major League Baseball really has. Remember, Major League Baseball was the one who actually pioneered the fantasy football, the fantasy following game thing. And that significantly drove interest in Major League Baseball up. And it has led to, if you are a fantasy player, right, if you do fantasy at all, you consume 40% more content of that sport, right? So let's say if you were able to successfully get fantasy technology into, let's say, the NRL, you will see content consumption by fans jump 40% or more. And that's part of the problem with the NRL not really keeping track and staying on top of technology investments. And because if you look now, these NFL teams are at some point they're going to be bigger investors in technology than they will be in the actual game of football.
Yeah, I mean, see, the reason why my observation is because of college football, and college football fans follow their players. And that's one of the challenge. I think the biggest threat to the NFL is college football. That's going to be.
I think aren't they? Isn't that like the best happy marriage on the planet? Like
No,
the
it's
NFL,
not, because
the NFL doesn't have to spend a single dollar on developing players.
No, understood. But here's the problem. NFL viewership, when they went woke, went down, but college football viewership did not go down.
Yeah,
So,
but that's a woke problem. That's not a fan engagement problem. You know what I mean? Like,
it is, because it affects the product. It affects the engagement with the fans. And let me tell you this: the typical fan who's tied to a geographic location tends to be more invested in a geographic location and cares more about how the team behaves, right? And how they treat the police force, how they respect the country. From my perspective, they would be a little more sensitive to that. The college fan is heavily invested in the player. Like Tua, I'll tell you, there's probably tons and tons of Alabama fans who follow the Dolphins because of Tua, because they had that experience with Tua in the national championship game, and they're like, you know what? Wherever Tua goes, that's where I'm going. And as you have the NIL deals go up, that engagement is going to go higher, and they're going to follow. From my perspective, they're probably going to follow the players more than a geographic team.
But Tua, remember, places like Hawaii, Alabama that don't have NFL teams are going to follow play, right? Like, I mean, I follow players, right? If Hawaii had an NFL team, I'd probably be super loyal to that. But I follow Tua, I follow Jordan Mailata, I follow the Pacific Islander players. Kids that come out of Kahuku, kids that come out of Hawaii in general. But I think if you follow guys that like, let's say who would be where did the quarterback go from University of Washington? Oh, Atlanta. He got drafted by Atlanta.
Michael Penix.
Yeah, Penix, right? So I think you'll still have a ton of people that are in the Seattle area that are Seattle Seahawks fans that will still follow Penix. It doesn't mean that they're disloyal, right? It just means they're number 2 team or number 2. They hope Michael Penix does well, but they still follow Seattle. They still go to Seattle games. They're still hot Washington Husky fans. But if the Falcons were playing Seattle, they would still cheer for Seattle. But if Atlanta is playing anybody else, they cheer for Atlanta. Does that kind of make? I don't think it.
No, I agree. But I'm just saying, as the generations go on, the scenario describing is it's not going up, it's going down from my perspective. There's a reason why the NFL is concerned that Pop Warner engagement is going down, right? That's the reason why they're getting concerned with a lot of that stuff. But hey, before we go too far on that, there's a couple. Masi, do you think you can answer Brian's question there?
Yes. How does fantasy work? So everyone, I guess you do it like in a group or with a bunch of friends. You have a day that there's a bunch of players that everyone can pick who their players.
Draft, right? You have to have a draft. That's one of the things the NRL doesn't have is a draft.
Yes. And you pick your players that you want for each position, and then every week you kind of follow their games, and then however they do, there's a certain point system, and then you kind of whoever has the most points by the end of the season kind of wins their fantasy.
And you play games. You go against an opponent in your thing, and then they play off into a championship.
No, yes, and I think the fantasy is also a big driver of getting women to kind of follow American football, and I think that's another big thing, that it's not just a male dominating sport. You get a bunch of women. Yeah, you get a lot of women actually play those games that actually somewhat watch their players play on TV because they're more into fantasy than the actual
game
throwing
itself.
The football. Yeah.
Here's another quick comment here from David. Hey, welcome, David. Good to see you again. The Dallas Cowboys are the most valued franchise in the world at $9.2 billion. They have the recipe to stay relevant even without years of never reaching the Super Bowl. And the reason why is because their fan base, a ton of them didn't even live in Texas.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. It's because they got designated as America's team, right? So you have 32 franchises. That means only 32 cities. That means you have thousands of cities that don't have NFL teams. And then if you're designated America's team, that's who you're going to follow. And the Dallas Cowboys have been the beneficiary of that label and that brand. And it's the interesting thing is it was actually the Pittsburgh Steelers that were offered that designation first.
And they didn't take it.
And the owner and the head coach said, no, we don't want to be called America's team. We're the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then so the Dallas Cowboys are the ones who really embraced being called America's team. And yeah, and it's not even close. And that $9.2 billion is far below what they would. If the Dallas Cowboys were ever offered on the market, they would get more than double that. There's no way that the Dallas Cowboys are going for less than $15 billion.
No, and the one thing I like about the Dallas Cowboys, what's his name? That Jones guy?
Jerry Jones.
Jerry Jones. He's one of the few guys that has the titles owner, manager, player. Like he has a bunch of titles.
He's owner,
he's everywhere.
No, manager, coach. PR,
and that's why
manager.
The funny thing here, this is the funny thing about Jerry Jones, right? Is that when he got the team and he turned it over to Johnson, I can't remember what his what his first name.
Jimmy Johnson.
Jimmy Johnson won 2 Super Bowls for him. And he came over, right? He was the head coach of Miami, the University of Miami, when they won their national championship. But anyway, though, because he bought the team for a lot more money than it was believed it was worth, right? And so Jerry Jones was off making the finances of the team work. And
that's when they were winning. Then they start winning.
That's when they were winning. And so he completely turned over the operation and everything to Jimmy Johnson. But once he got the finances of the Dallas Cowboys to be solid, to be on a solid footing, then he started to involve himself in the operation of the team. And Jimmy Johnson was talking about that one time where he said he had finished his press conference as a coach, and then he was leaving, and then he sees a whole bunch of more reporters coming into the room, and he's like, "Hey, what's going on?" And he says, "Jerry Jones is holding a press conference." He goes, "What is he going to talk about?" And this was when he's the commentator now.
Troy
Aikman was the quarterback. Because Jimmy Johnson, the way he coached it is like we'll see, because Troy Aikman had a terrible game, and Jimmy Johnson just isn't going to let you start just because you're the main team, and right. And he said, we'll see, we'll do an evaluation and all this stuff. Jerry Jones just comes out right and says, "Oh yeah, Troy Aikman's going to be the starter, and he's going to know," right? So completely steps on the toes of the coach, and then that's what ruined their relationship. They actually didn't start talking to each other, I think, until like 2 years ago. But from the time that Jerry Jones fired Jimmy Johnson, they didn't talk to each other for like 20 years, and the team has never been the same.
Since the 90s, they haven't been.
So I was living in Euless at the time, and here's a funny story. Is so we're living in Euless, and we go to church that Sunday, and all of a sudden I'm like, scrolling through my Facebook feed. Fan Dallas, we're 49ers, because there's quite a few people who moved into Euless. They didn't even make it. They didn't even make it into the building. They both happened to pull up, and they started, chirping at each other in the parking lot. And 2 husbands and wives are fighting in the parking lot of the gym.
The rivalry between the Niners and the Cowboys is real. That's not a.
Yeah.
Well, not as crazy as the Niners and the Raiders, but that's because they were right across the street from each other.
Hey, welcome, Brian. And Water Bear says that if fantasy implemented into rugby will cause fixed games. They already have fixed games, and they don't have fantasy as much in rugby union.
Actually, this is one of those interesting points, is because rugby has a longer history with gambling and betting than the NFL and NBA ever did.
Yeah,
Because I mean, they started betting and gambling on rugby games, especially rugby league games. I think it's been like 100 years or whatever, you know. And that's probably one area that I would probably say that rugby, whether it's rugby league or rugby union, is ahead of American sports on. It's the reason why forever Las Vegas never got a pro sports team.
Yeah, was the
Because
gambling concern.
Yeah, right. Because imagine, right? You see the quarterback at some casino having drinks with the owner of like the CEO of like Caesar's Palace or MGM or whatever, and then they lose the game the next day, right? The optics of that is absolutely terrible. But now that pretty much 90% of gambling is done through your phone now, you know, that's kind of
who was the athlete that was offered like $600K to throw a fight or a match and then rejected the offer and then still lost? Do you guys remember?
No,
was that a basketball game? No,
it was like a combat. I'll look it up, but it was like a combat sport where they were offered like $600K to throw the fight and then they ended up losing anyway.
Oh, no, I have a quick question. Maybe you will know this, Lee. Has gambling actually affected the gameplay of fantasy football or anything? Because
100%. Dude,
yeah.
FanDuel, dude, you're talking billions. You're talking these you know, going back to that other comment before, the Dallas Cowboys used to be valued at $4 billion, right? Now they're 9 going on their way to 10. I'm telling you, if the Dallas Cowboys were offered for sale today, they wouldn't get less than 15 billion. They would get between 15 and 20 billion. And the reason why, a major reason why they doubled was because of the gambling portion.
Yeah.
And what, you know, DraftKings and FanDuel and all those guys have brought. Speaking of, you know, DraftKings, they've built a 100,000 square foot facility in Las Vegas. We're only seeing the tip of the iceberg as far as what and that's why I'm saying that these professional operations are becoming more and more tech companies than they are kind of like football or basketball or any of those things, because I mean, performance is super technology based. The revenue portion is super technology based, and then an increasing portion of revenue is coming from other things other than the actual, you know, like ticket sales now at these games are, you know, it's every year it's like less than, it's probably like 30%. It's way less than half of the revenue that these operations are getting. Like, I mean, ticket sales are still important, but they're becoming less and less important.
Yeah, because it's you still want your product to have fans fill out those seats for
the atmosphere and all of that stuff, right? Like, you can see what happened during COVID when people were playing in empty stadiums. It really affected the quality of the product on television.
Yeah. Hey, let's talk about BYU football, since it is football season coming up. You know, I love BYU football, but it's always the same. Get excited. We beat someone that's ranked, you know, kind of get excited. And then the tail end of the season, we just seem to die off. How's the team looking? I'll pick up some stuff here and some news, but
I'll say this. I this year and next year is going to be a huge year for Kalani Sitake. So hopefully he does improve, because I know, you know, it's seat is getting warmer, because now I know, being in the bigger conference, higher expectation, you're gonna be more scrutinized a little bit more. But I hope you know, Skaran Sitake does really well. But I know this year, next year is gonna be pretty big for him.
Yeah, let's any thoughts? Go ahead, Lee.
Well, you know, this is funny because we, you know, I kind of want to write like the football, the BYU football program, you know, it's right. It has the special distinction of being a team that's won a national championship. Crazy how football in Utah, you know, a small state like Utah. What was it like last year? I think it was 2 years ago when Utah State, University of Utah, and BYU all finished the year, all ranked in the top 25. BYU obviously getting a massive boost in revenue and television with the introduction into the Big 12. So that injection of it's like what, double or triple their previous revenue streams.
David, why you gotta be like that? Why you gotta be like that, David?
Hey, at least we got one.
Now,
at least we got one.
Hey, now
even though it was in the 80s, but we still got one. Not many college universities can say that.
Right? It's way more national championships than. Do you know the University of Texas only has one national? Is it one national championship?
There's one with recently when they beat USC, Reggie Bush, but I don't know if they have others. Let me look that up. I
think that's the only national championship. So University of Texas has to be a bigger, dream destroying institution than BYU's ever been. Like, BYU is always outperforming when it does do well. Let's see who else. Right, like massive programs like Oklahoma State, University of Oregon State. Right, none of those guys have ever won a national championship. So
University of Oregon, they've never.
University of Washington, you know what I mean. So there's
four national championships.
Okay, 4 national championships, but you look at the resources that BYU has.
It's not much compared,
Dude, the Longhorn, the University of Texas has their own television network. That's crazy. But I think there are some advantages that BYU has still yet to take advantage of. I think it's a great fit to the Big 12. Fight at USC.
That's Lee's wife is a USC, so she'll probably say fight on too. Whatever.
And congratulations to USC. The USC has had has won a gold medal. Their athletes from USC have won a gold medal in every single Olympics since 1912. They've produced, the university has produced more gold medalists than any other university on the planet. They do exceedingly well. I've always been a fan of USC because of the way they've treated the Pacific Islander players. They've always done a great job of recruiting, treating them well. It's a great university, great institution. It's just unfortunate that it's in a city that kind of struggles these days. But USC and the Olympics is coming back, right? The Coliseum. The last time, prior to the time that the All Blacks came and played over here, previous to that, the last time they played was actually in the Coliseum in LA. So
did they sell out?
I doubt. Remember, that's a 90,000 seat stadium.
Yeah, almost about 100,000. Yeah, I was just curious if they did, because I know the last time the All Blacks played in the U.S., it wasn't sold out when they played at the Washington Redskins.
And they reinstituted Reggie Bush's. Did they
give it back?
They gave it back his Heisman trophy, right?
So,
the golden years of those guys then. So. I actually ran into Matt Leinart in the airport the other day.
Is he still doing commentating?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, he's a Fox. I think he's a Fox commentator. He's a lot skinnier than you would think.
He's definitely not Polynesian then.
But taking a look at BYU,
Malo Clydemore, welcome.
Hey, Clydemore, how's it going? BYU schedule, it's a tough schedule. Of course, I'm rooting for Kalani Sitake to do well.
Let's go game by game and say win or lose. Let's go. First one, Southern Illinois. That better be a win, right?
Win by 21. Like, that's not just a win.
Yeah,
you got to
dominate.
You got to
dominate.
I think more. I would say, should we even write this stuff down? Let's do this and kind of come back to this like
because the season starts at the end of this month. So
August 31st is the first game. Where LA is hella what?
So I think they're going to beat Southern Illinois by more than 24 points.
Okay,
I think
so. Should be a three touchdown,
more than 3 touchdown win.
SMU.
So,
How about SMU? I think that should be a win, though. SMU has gotten a lot better over the years, but
yeah,
they've never really recovered it from their glory days.
I say at least a 14-point win. BYU plus 24.
I
Okay,
say
we're
a
gonna
win.
go SMU. I'm
I'd
gonna
say a
go.
win too.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna. I think it's gonna be a solid win. They'll beat them by 14 points. We go Wyoming.
That should be a
Wyoming.
win.
Is
They've
that a
been tough.
home game? Is that a
No, it's
home game or an
away.
away
No,
game?
away game in Wyoming.
That's an interesting game. Wait, is the SMU game home or away?
No, away. It's in Dallas.
Ooh, that's a tough one. Okay, I'm gonna go if it's at SMU, I'll go. They'll win by more than a touchdown. Okay, so I'll take a touchdown. I'll take a touchdown off of that. Wyoming should be a comfortable win, 14 plus points.
Yeah, I
Should
say
be,
that
but
too.
they've gotten stronger.
Yeah, they beat.
That's my
one thing
concern.
that's one thing I've heard. Wyoming at home because they beat Texas Tech last year.
Yeah,
It's the same quarterback they have still playing this year that beat Texas Tech last year. So, but BYU should win.
yeah.
BYU
should.
should win.
I think this all hinges on the quality of BYU's O line, right? So they have a new O line head coach, and I think as long as the O line holds well together, I think they're going to crush a lot of people, and they have the potential to do that. So I'm counting on them.
Okay, I'm not against that. This one is going to be a tough one right here.
Ooh, yes.
Who's home game?
BYU home game first. It's like the opening of the Big 12 schedule.
You know what? I'm gonna take BYU at home +3. I win by a field goal.
I hope so.
BYU
I hope so.
+3.
What was Kansas State's record last year? Didn't they have a good year last year?
No, they had a good year. They had a
I
good
think
year.
they had an okay year. Try pull them up. They had an okay
Yeah.
year.
I guess it's okay when the previous year from last year, the Kansas State, they were the Big 12 champion. So I guess it was okay. They were expected to do better.
Overall 9-4.
Yeah.
That's
So
better.
average.
They
It's a
did
good.
They did
And
good.
with the Big 12 competition, that's going to be a tough one.
I'm gonna take BYU. So I have BYU going.
I hope so.
There.
Just because of the home field advantage. If it is a home game, okay. Next two games are going to be tough. Next three games are going to be very tough.
I think Baylor's still struggling right now.
Are they? I know they struggled last year, but I know the thing is with BYU that I've noticed when they play, like I feel like they'll do really well, and then like those big games for Kansas State, they'll play really well. They always have a letdown a game after that.
No, but that's okay. Yeah, I kind of see your now. Baylor at home or away?
No, it's away. It's in Texas, Waco.
Oh, I think BYU because they lost to Baylor last year, right?
No,
yes.
they didn't play Baylor
the last time they played Baylor, they lost because the year before that they won, and then they
I think
lost
BYU comes back.
year.
I think BYU comes back for a win against Baylor.
No, I thought BYU beat Baylor because the latest time they played was at BYU and they won, and then the year before that they played at Baylor, they lost.
Okay, was it the other way around?
Yes.
I just remember that Tongan O lineman that just dominated in that game.
Yeah.
But he played for Baylor.
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, and it's at Baylor.
Yeah, sounds like
BYU won the last one. I'm going to go with Baylor losing. That's BYU's first loss is Baylor in Texas.
I feel like BYU that would probably be the L right there. That's what I feel like.
I think. Ooh, that's gonna Arizona. Is that at Arizona or at BYU?
Wait, Tua. So what? You're saying that Baylor is gonna win or lose? Is that a win or lose for you, Tua?
I'd probably say Baylor's gonna win.
Yeah, I mean, that's my first thought.
I want BYU to win, but I'm not there yet.
Okay, so I'm there. I'm there 4, and so BYU after that Baylor game is going to be 4-1.
Yes.
Okay.
I think they're going to lose 3 in a row.
Arizona. You think they lose to Arizona? Where's Arizona? At Arizona or at BYU?
No,
if it's at BYU,
BYU.
They're beating Arizona.
Well, I'm gonna take I'm gonna take BYU because BYU has actually beat Arizona. I know Arizona is a different team, but I'm gonna go with the momentum. They beat Arizona the last 3 times they met, so I'm gonna take that, and that's at home. I think it's a win for BYU.
I'll take a loss there. I really think the next three they're going to lose.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
once they lose, it seems like once we get our first loss, we like go on a losing spree.
Yeah,
We tend to go on a losing spree, and it's frustrating for me.
Yeah,
Because whenever we get our first loss, it's like we're going to lose 2 or 3 more.
This year is not that year. This year is not that year.
Okay.
I hope so. Yeah. Yeah.
Oklahoma
with you.
State. Oklahoma
That's
State.
a win for BYU.
At BYU?
At BYU. And I know that
BYU.
last game that was very emotional because BYU players, they really wanted to go to the bowl game. That was, went to overtime. So I'm pretty sure the players have got this one kind of marked to kind of get back. And they're pretty good at when you played that same team again from last year, they usually get the win if they've lost the previous year.
Ooh, okay, that's a man. You are super optimistic about BYU this year. That's a big one. If they can beat Oklahoma State, that's a big one.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is a loss for
Central Florida.
At Central Florida?
Think we're going to lose to Central Florida, Masi?
If it's at Central Florida, yes. Dude, BYU's only won
at UCF.
BYU's only won once in Florida.
Yeah.
It's
a long trip.
That was when they played Southern Florida. I think it was last year or the year before. They've lost every other time they've gone to play in Florida.
Okay, I'm hoping we can beat UCF. That's one of the weaker teams in the pack in the
Big 12.
The Big 12. If we can't beat them, that's not going to be good for us.
I think the danger of the slide to us is coming up after this Utah game. I think if BYU has a tough loss, I mean not a bad loss against Utah, I think BYU goes into like a depression
slump.
slide.
Yeah. I think BYU wins this game, to be honest.
Utah?
Yeah. I think BYU, because I'm taking it they'll lose the UCF, and I feel like they'll bounce back. And because Utah, BYU tends to play against teams that are pretty good, that are projected to be, the winners. And I know Utah's been picked from the way beginning to win the conference.
Wait,
so
did you say you think BYU beats Utah?
I think so.
Oh, I'm not there.
I think so.
Yeah, I don't think I'm there. I think this is the danger of this will be depending on what their record is by the time they get to Utah. I think the danger of an emotional slide happens after this game, whether a win or loss against Utah.
Do I want to win badly? Yeah. Absolutely. But it's going to be
what's
tough.
The score? What's the score?
We're either going to win, barely win, or we're going to get blown out.
Well, the thing is,
Utah is getting their quarterback back that they've had for
7 years?
Now?
7 years?
Whatever it is, that Rising. He's going to be there. Rising. They always have a good defense. Not sure about their running back situation, but let's catch up on some of the comments before we get too far. Question here by Brown Monk. Anybody here going to do fantasy? I'm kind of disenchanted, mostly with the NFL. A little too woke for my palate. But maybe that's something we look at. Masi, any thoughts, Lee?
I don't mind. I don't mind.
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe it's been a little too. Things are super busy. It's hard to stay engaged with the fantasy league with how busy things are going to be this year.
Yeah, and I think is that the name of the D lineman that was at Baylor? He had a monster game. Where is he now? Is he in the NFL? He's with the Browns.
Yeah.
Good for him. And this is the reason why I agree with Waterbear. This is my concern with the Arizona game. They got their quarterback now with that Tongan Filipino kid settled in towards the end of the season. And I'm thinking, I think they're starting to figure things out. It's not going to be as easy as a win as we had last time.
That'll be a tough game.
Hey, how do you know me? Welcome, Malo from Mangere
East. My side of town, man. Hey. Another New Zealand viewer. Malo.
Yeah, Wada Bear says Utah over BYU.
No
And
way, Water Bird.
Hey,
Wada
try
Bear
it.
said wishful thinking.
Oh what?
Masi.
Oh what? Oh
Hey,
what?
let's
Oh
take a
what?
look. Let's see what even let's see what
Shitake,
ESPN.
Shitake already told me and Malo he's at BYU. Oh
Hey,
what?
Wada
Oh
Bears,
what?
did you hear that? Apparently,
Oh what?
Sitake texted Masi during the
This
show.
is a personal connection, Waterberg. Shitake. I'm gonna believe in Shitake over here. Kita Shitake Utah to and now go nga the
Yeah.
recruits.
Wada
Oh
Bear
shita.
says 42-24. And
Ooh, that's a
what I'm
smash.
that's what
Oh,
I'm saying. I'm thinking we either gonna win barely or we're gonna get smashed badly. Hey, Brian
So
Malo, thank you for joining us tonight. Once again, yes, check it
yep.
out. We will cut up. We're trying to catch up the Spotify playlist. I
Mhm.
think we're on episode 38 on Spotify. So I'm slowly updating that, but we will chop up the live sessions and upload it onto to Spotify and all the other audio platforms so you can catch it there. So you can met Malo Toko. All right.
Th- No, I was gonna say too. This my problem with Utah. There's too much. People are just going on the base that Rising's gonna be playing normally. My man hasn't played a normal snap for almost a year and a half. So that's my issue. I'm not gonna give Utah. Yes, they have good defense. When you have good defense, you're gonna win games. But they have a good running game, good O line. But the quarterback, I don't know, man. I don't know if they're
Well,
gonna get it together.
it's not
yeah.
just the quarterback. They have a winning formula. I mean, in the Pac-12, dominant, right? They've been doing
BY BYU can say they always call BYU the Pac-12 champions because they beat Utah and USC at the other time when they were playing. So obviously the Pac-12 is not that. Let's just say that crazy, for
Yeah.
BYU.
okay.
That's
I think
me. I'm just saying.
so.
I'm
For
just saying.
Utah's last 5 games, they lost against Northwestern University 14-7. They beat Colorado 23-17. They lost to Arizona 42-18. 42 to
Utah did?
18. Yeah, Utah
Was
did.
that towards the end of the season?
Yes. That
Yeah,
was
because that dude, that Tongan kid, that Noah,
they didn't have an answer for him.
they couldn't stop him. I mean, he's like he's accurate, like you said, like a Russell Wilson, a Tua
He
Tagovailoa,
moves well. He
moves well
moves
and can
well.
throw.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
Brown Monk is trying to help you, Masi. He says someone
Oh,
stop him. He's out of pocket.
oh what? Oh what? Oh what? I'm telling you, BYU's gonna shock you. That's one thing I've been following. I've kind of moved away.
Hey, we're gonna do. I'm gonna send Mussie's resume over to the BYU TV
Coaching
network.
staff.
This is a
No,
number one cougar.
yeah,
This
no.
BYU
I,
TV.
no, I'm telling you, a lot of the stuff I've been following is more college football, BYU specifically, more than the
Okay,
NFL.
okay.
So there's some insights like the BYU. They're gonna surprise some people, man. I'm
Masi, I
telling
have
you,
a
man.
question for you.
Yeah.
What's the difference between Christian Wolf and Kalani Sitake?
Ooh, let's
Ooh.
just say here's the thing. No, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Here's the thing with Galani Sitake. Let's just say that the fans in football are a lot more loudmouth to him. Expecting more
Mm.
wins because I feel like Christian Wolf. I don't know. Tongan fans are just gonna be grateful for whatever they get. But BYU fans, they're definitely heating the heat on because it's even been in the broadcast I've been watching. His seat is starting to get warm up, and that's why they've said if he
Yeah,
doesn't do well this year, the next year could be his last year.
Yeah,
If he
yeah.
doesn't do well, and then BYU's already forking up so much money on the head coach for the basketball. So obviously
yeah.
BYU they're
That's
willing to spend money to find another coach. So
nobody,
that's
and
that's what I've
because
kind of heard.
BYU basketball has been doing so well, it's really kind of
Yes.
because the Big 12 is a basketball conference, right? I
Yeah.
mean, Big 12 is where they play basketball, and the fact that BYU did as well as they did when the expectations were so low, you're right.
Yeah.
The BYU football is expected to do better in the Big 12 than basketball, and that
Yeah.
hasn't been the case. And so, yeah, I think the last thing I saw, like Colin Sitake was ranked the sixth most likely head coach to get fired. So,
Mhm.
I mean, there's
No,
those challenges.
yeah. No, and that's the difference between it's just part of the U.S. consumers. We have a high expectation, but the Tongan fans, like they always say, "Malo be for ma que caiga."
Yeah, for sure,
You know,
Yeah.
Puti, ipuay mafana, you know.
Hey, but
Christian
you
Wilkes
know
doesn't fix that. Eh?
what Kalani does have, as Wada Bear says, he did take down Caleb Williams twice at the with the USC, right?
Yeah,
Who's
what do you
that?
mean? What do you mean? What do you think that
No,
means?
that's
To take
Utah.
down-
Utah took Caleb
Yeah,
Williams.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
this guy. Oh, I thought that was the quarterback at USC.
yeah.
Yeah, no,
He was a quarterback at USC, and
Oh,
and
you're
the
talking about
University of
Utah. You're
beat
talking
him.
about
Utah
Utah,
beat
not
him.
BYU. I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Wada Bears. I mean, Brown Monk said, Mussy, he thinks the New Zealand meat pies are getting to you.
hey, I'm
Yeah.
gonna remember your Brown Monk your meat pies here. Come to the season and see how BYU does. Eh?
We.
I remember.
Hey, Brown Monk, make sure you write it down too. Mussy's gonna send you some New Zealand meat
And
pies.
then
Yeah.
I'm gonna text Shitake family and say, hey, come on, I put in a lot of
Meat pies are on the table
praise,
here.
I'm putting a lot of high expectation for the good season.
He's like, hey, you gotta save me a cooler full of meat pies. Huh?
Hey, Stefan, welcome from
Oh.
Brisbane, from the land down under. Okay, so Mussy thinks BYU is gonna win. All right. Okay, let's reconvene. Now that we've settled the meat pie situation, Brown Monk says we can continue with the season. So Mussy says Utah, BYU is going to beat Utah. Me and Lee say we're probably going to lose.
Yeah,
And what's your wins and losses? Because right now I only have 2 losses for BYU. That UCF game and Baylor.
I have 3 losses. I have BYU with
so
3
far?
losses.
Me is
So
4
Oklahoma
with Utah.
State.
Yeah.
Oklahoma State, Baylor, and Utah.
Okay.
And then if it's a beatdown, if that loss becomes a big loss, I think BYU could go into a slide, lose to Kansas. Arizona State is struggling though. Like
That's a
yeah,
win.
I think that's a win. Kansas.
I think it's a win.
What happened in that Kansas game, dude? Wasn't it Kansas that I thought we were gonna smash them, and they came out and just mopped us, man? What the heck?
That was a bad loss. But this is, if you lose to Arizona State, I mean, those are the losses that really kind of turn the temperature up as far as, whether you keep your job or not. If you lose to, if you get worked by someone like Arizona State that is in a complete state of disarray.
Yeah, we should beat Arizona State, and that's at Arizona State. But I still think we should smash them.
Yeah. Yeah, their last loss, Arizona State's last game was 55-3 loss to the University of Utah.
Yeah, we should be able to beat those clowns.
Yeah,
man. That's the thing. Those
should.
I mean, we'll see, but I hope if that's why I'm saying, like, if you go into this emotional slide after getting beat down by Utah, like, man, it's like you could play against a Pop Warner team and lose,
dude. And that's the thing. Depending on where the season is, that Utah game is either going to make or break us. If we're not having a good season and we're losing, and then we lose to Utah, and we got to get 2, maybe 3 more wins to stay bowl eligible, that Utah game is in a very interesting spot.
Yeah, and that Arizona State game could be completely critical, because I think that Arizona State, if you win that Arizona State game, you're going to a bowl. If you lose that, then you're going into like a must-win situation against the University of Houston, and then
which is not a guarantee.
Yeah.
Houston, depending on the year, man, Houston should be on a win maybe 3 out of 5 years or 4 out of 5 years, and then every other time, all of a sudden, Houston has this killer team.
And, you'll have a great coach that then gets they'll get taken up by somebody else, but. University of Houston's last 5 games are 4 losses and 1 win. The only win they had was a 25-24 overtime win against Baylor. But they lost against UCF, they lost against Oklahoma State, they lost against Cincinnati, and they lost against Kansas State. Their loss to Kansas State was 41-0. So
we should win. They should be maybe at least a rebuilding year next year. Okay. So I'll take a win there. So right now I'm at 4 losses.
I only have 2. 10-2. 10-2. 10-2.
Yeah. You have so essentially you have BYU rolling into the Big 12 championship. I mean, if BYU beats Utah, bro,
that's a big deal. That's a big deal.
my
That's
thing
them.
is, I have a good understanding, especially in that Wyoming game, because the quarterback
Musty,
is huge. From what I've
Musty,
been hearing,
were you at
unless
practice? See, Musty has a good understanding because the
the
last time
insider,
this past week when he was at practice.
unless the Cougars insiders are lying to me, unless they're lying to me, but but
Newsflash, they're always lying.
that they shouldn't
Musty,
be paid then to
hey,
work their job.
eh,
but
eh,
but I do think at least they'll make it to a bowl. But hey, I'm pretty the thing is, I'm pretty confident in the Gary Bohannon guy. I mean, he's been to a Big 12 championship, and it's football is a
Musty,
very quarterback centric.
if they make it to a bowl game, I will probably fly you out so you can come to the bowl game.
Right.
Well, I'm pretty sure the insiders will fly you out. You're the only one who was talking to the insiders. Who knew for sure that they're going to a bowl game. Musty,
real quick. Let's catch up. I don't want to get too far behind on
Okay.
some of the comments here. Wada Bears is stepping up. Masi, he's saying, "Hey, I got 40 bucks
Hey.
on Utah."
hey,
We
Okay,
got-
okay,
hey.
okay.
Okay.
All right. $40. We got Monopoly money over here. In, New Zealand. We have a blue color $10 and then a purple color $50. So
Hey,
Oh,
hey, Brown Monk also says he takes Utah over BYU. Brown Monk, Wada Bears response is Brown Monk, I'll take BYU for 30 bucks. Give me 3 points.
Hey.
Oh, yeah.
let's
Hey,
go.
man.
Let's
Seems like
go.
Wada Bears is kind of going
Hey,
back
3
and
points.
forth here. What's going
Let's
on here?
go.
Hey,
No,
that's,
no. And here's a news flash. BYU is the biggest probably program with the whole. If you talk about the stadium size and facility, they're the biggest dog in the Big 12 now.
Yes,
that
yes.
Texas and those guys.
Yeah.
So BYU, I'm telling you, they just need to play games and get there. But their
They just need to
facility
win, right, Masi?
Yeah,
is-
they have the biggest
Yeah.
stadium and the biggest basketball arena in the
Yes.
in the Big 12.
in the
Yeah.
Big 12. So they're the big dogs. I mean,
Yeah, no, they do. I mean, if BYU wins a couple seasons,
yes.
there will be no doubt that that's
Yeah,
the
no,
case.
And this I think will be a major part of the challenge is if they win those first if they win those first 4 games and BYU is 4-0 coming into that was it first game against Kansas State and then they win that Kansas State game, the home crowd is going to be particularly strong for BYU.
Yeah,
So,
and BYU travels so well. That's the one
Yeah.
cool thing about BYU. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter where in the nation, they fill up their seats, and that's good for any conference that BYU is
Yeah.
in. You know?
No, and not only that though, but even eyeballs like
Yeah.
BYU, wherever games they play. That's the
oh,
only reason
actually,
why they
yeah.
lasted-
Other than
that's why
other
they
than
lasted independent so well.
Yeah,
Oklahoma.
exactly.
Now that Oklahoma and Texas, since they're not in the Big 12 anymore, BYU has the biggest average viewership in the Big 12 for football games.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
So continue
Hey.
here. Why do we do this to ourselves, fella? Why are we aligned to sides that make the toto 100%? I don't know why we do it to ourselves. It's like we can't help ourselves, Clyde Moore. See, for Alpha, we're counting losses now.
hey, no, but the bowl game is where we're at, and if BYU goes to a bowl game, that'll be a massive win for the BYU program.
That'd be huge.
Yeah.
That'll be huge.
And that would also kind of cool down the seat for Shitake.
Fun, yeah. Because if you go to a bowl game, not only you're making money, but also now you're in the Big 12. So whenever Big 12 teams make it to a bowl game, you get a piece of the pie. BYU financially, BYU is going to do a lot better now that they're in a conference. Because that was the sucky thing. We have a very strong national footprint, but what sucks when you're independent is if you don't go to a bowl game, you don't get the dollars. And so when we were independent and we don't make it to a bowl game, that means we're not raking in millions of dollars at the end of the season. Yahweh. Brown Monk's going to have to withdraw. The monastery says, Moni, tama kato Pope get OFA gambling.
Okay.
All right. Clyde Moore says, just a spectator. College ball is out of his wheel. I'm like this as well. I followed more of the players. You guys are gonna love this.
It's a full name Mount Kauta.
Yahweh. Oh man, that is hilarious, Clyde Moore.
Hopefully it's in a more solid foundation at Cloudmore, the BYU football program
hey,
foundation. We'll see.
Clyde Moore. Hopefully, at the end of the season, we're not out there kinning the trees off of the Pule Malay Mound because BYU went from 10-2 to 2-10. That would be terrible. That would be absolutely terrible. The BYU two stones. Marie. Man, anyways, yeah. That's freaking hilarious, man. That was good stuff. To all of our usual viewers, that's the inside joke. BYU, hopefully BYU is not the Pule Malay Mound.
Hopefully not. Shitake is over there. Hopefully on the Tuitonga Foundation over there.
Yes, hopefully he's building off of that Langi Foundation. Let's just look at some of the headlines here. It looks like we're doing a lot of scrimmaging going on right now.
Yeah,
let's see.
First scrimmage.
Let's see what the observations are.
BYU football week 2 fall camp continues to roll on. Mitch Harper and Matt Baiamonte. We saw a lot of practice today, and I thought there were some really insightful moments that maybe see where things are trending in the quarterback battle, particularly Gary Bohannon, who I thought showed pretty well.
He did. I think it's safe to say all the quarterbacks much improved from what we saw on Monday. Gary had some really nice throws, and he worked in.
Who's the lead right now for QB?
I think it's that Bohannon kid, isn't it?
Yeah, they said he's kind of leading, but it's still 50-50 between him and that the previous starter from last year,
man,
at Retzlaff. But yeah, I mean, it's still tight. It's still tight.
Dang.
Yeah.
And this is where if whoever the starting quarterback is, with some of those things there, if they have a breakout year, man,
yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm talking that you're looking at 8. You could 8 wins. And that would be a massive deal.
That would be a huge plus. Get bowl eligible. Clyde Moore says for the season, for a good year for BYU. Nacho's jumping on the Bule Malay mound for BYU.
Nacho. Come on.
Kava, as you requested, Nacho. Yeah, some of the guys aren't very happy with the quality of the people doing the interview. I don't know if it's the attire or what, but the guys are saying this is a 5-win season based off of the interview people.
Yeah, no, Brown Monk. It's just because it's still fall. When it's season, they're gonna wear their suits, missionary suits. When it's season time, right now it's still P Day. They're still preparing.
preparing.
Stuff. So
we saw with the ones, we saw with the twos, even so. Repetitions are still being divvied out proportionally amongst the quarterbacks. No real separation there from what we saw.
Dude, that to me personally, that's concerning when I hear that the first game is August 31st. You're splitting reps. I don't know.
Well, they've kind of mentioned that if they don't do well, they're gonna get rid, because how they got rid of Tuyaki the previous year, because not last year but the last year, because the really horrible season. They don't do well this season, the offensive coordinator would go. So yeah,
that would be the second coordinator, right? Because wasn't it Detmer before?
Ty Detmer, Ty Detmer was the first offensive coordinator.
Man, Clyde Moore has a recommendation. We need to penny for YouTube Premium. Guys, I apologize. We have a humble beginning. One day we'll graduate to the YouTube Premium. Until then, commercial on the free version of YouTube.
Kataki Big Clyde Moore. As long as we have day jobs, we're just gonna stick to the free YouTube. If we do this full time, it's gonna be different. Clyde Moore.
Only BYU fans chase their Kava. Are you saying the Utah fans, Water Bears, don't have a chaser after the Kava? If not, I'm not gonna use chase then. If that's the challenge.
Nice.
Shots fired. Hey, sorry, I'm thinking out loud. Water Bears. Maria. Oh, Yahweh. The Polynesian solution to every fundraising.
Hey, I just had a big plate of kalbi and
Oh, Yahweh.
barbecue chicken. Shit.
From where? Mobera.
Tama made it.
Oh, okay. Home style.
I don't think what's the one you said, Masi? Mobera. I don't think they have the short ribs at Mobera.
No, they don't have
They don't have kalbi.
kalbi.
Okay.
That's the one shortfall for Moberas, but they have the pulehu steak, which is good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here, a couple more. I bet Kataki 100%, guys. Kataki Begelai. You know,
Malo.
and maybe Penny for the Toa skip the ads for us. Now we know where Nacho's priorities are. He's like he's okay with the ads. He just wants the Toa apparently. And Clyde Moore seems to agree that Water Bears, can you please review some of the requests here and see if you approve as the official PR rep, and then we can shoot it over to Masi. But it's interesting. We are going to be working on that. Like Masi said, this is for the love of the game situation. We are going to work on some apparel. Hopefully, I don't want to say in 2 months, but maybe 3 months, 3 to 6 months. We may work on maybe some T-shirts and hats and stuff. But until then, Monilau Aikataki Gela.
We've got some pretty exciting things coming down with football season starting like next week. So, but again, like even with the fact that we're going into the Big 12 and that the University of Utah is favored to win, well, that's a good thing for the state of Utah, right? We have the Olympics that come in here in a few years. I'm not sure actually how Utah State. Now, do any of you guys kind of know what the status and situation is with the remainder of the pack? It's the Pac-2 now, and how they're kind of doing that kind of merger with the with the Mountain West.
Yeah.
No, because the reason why
that's pretty sad. And
what
it's the Pac-2.
What is Utah State? You know what kind of the situation is with Utah State in that?
Yeah, they've already terminated their head coach, and now it's like they're in a legal.
What happened there? What happened there? Because is it Anderson, right?
Yeah, that Anderson guy.
Was there some extracurricular activities going on, or what?
No, there was something about students, about something that he didn't report, that a student was doing something. It was one of those, and he's trying to say he didn't know, but the university staff are saying he should have had some knowledge, or he should have taken the blame because he's still the head of the operation there. So that it's kind of that.
Yeah, because they fired him almost like immediately. I remember skimming through that. They just said, and then did they fire also like the athletic director or football operations lady? Like there were multiple firings.
Clean slate. Yeah, they cleaned out the whole football slate. So now they've kind of put
it's a Title IX violation. So this is from CBS Sports.
Oh, Title IX. They let the boys and the girls.
Utah State fires Blake Anderson. Aggies terminate coach for violations related to non-compliance with Title IX. And I think it might be he didn't report maybe scholarship money that went out or something. Utah State officially fired Coach Blake Anderson after an investigation turned up non-compliance with the university policies concerning Title IX. The school place the action is based on significant violations of his contractual obligations. The reporting requirements include a prohibition on employees outside the USU Office of Equity from investigating issues of sexual misconduct, including domestic violence. Additionally, Anderson failed to manage the team in a manner that reflects USU's academic values.
Okay. Wow. Well, let's catch up on a couple more real quick here. It looks like Water Bears approves.
Okay, approved.
The penny stamped. All right, that's through. Here's a couple other topics we can jump to real quick.
Okay. So here's the reason. He contacted the girlfriend and roommate of a Utah State football player.
Yeah.
That's
Probably there was a situation and he was probably trying to resolve it with one of the players. Got him in trouble.
Fact finding mission to determine what punitive measures, if any, Utah State should take. And so that's what the issue was.
100%. Hey, Clyde Moore, we'll keep everybody aware on the updates on the apparel. Like I said, we'll probably have some apparel here coming out in the next few months. Yeah, this is what what they always say. We live in the world where all of a sudden everybody starts thinking they like the little kids, but looks like it wasn't necessarily the case. And then Brown Monk, hey teacher, leave the kids alone. The crazy world we live in. But too bad. Hopefully BYU has a good season. Here's another interesting one. A comment by Brown Monk. What are we thinking? Team USA over France?
Dude, are you kidding?
USA.
Here, this is what the USA basketball team goes out and just has a little warm up in the first half of the basketball game, and then they allow and here this is the conspiracy theorist in me, but it is not good. It is not good for basketball on the international level for USA to come and blow everybody away by 40 points or more. And so they allow, just like that game against Serbia in the semifinal, it is in the interests of the NBA and for international basketball that those games and the teams have a chance. Right, they were down 17 points against Serbia, and then they come back and win the game. And if you look at that pattern, the USA consistently is behind or close or whatever it is in the first half of the game, and then they always come back from behind to win. So I don't know if that's you're talking about the future of the game, keeping fans on a global basis engaged. You don't want USA just coming out and destroying everybody. But the 36 points that Steph Curry had in the game against Serbia, he probably could have had 50 or 60 points or whatever. But I don't think it's even. They'll make it a game with France, but the reality is France doesn't have a chance.
Masi, what's your take?
USA. I'm pretty sure USA will take it. They'll keep it close. I mean, I do think internationally, because of what's that guy that plays for the Dallas Maverick? That
Wembayana or whatever. Yeah,
no, he's with that's with the Spurs. He's talking about the white guy that he's like, I'm the best white player in the NBA.
Doncic or whatever. Or
Luka.
So I know internationally and I know there's some more French players coming out. So I know internationally their game has improved. So I feel like it is going to be a close, but USA, from even their first to 5 and even their sideline guys that will come and sub them in, USA should win. But I know the international game overall has improved the quality of players because more guys are coming through the NBA from those European.
And that is pretty crazy how well the NBA does in keeping an eye on basketball across the globe and bringing in players. You know what I mean? So that's those are some pretty cool advantages that basketball does have on an international basis. And again, goes back to why the NFL wants flag football to take root at the Olympics and be played in more countries.
Well, and BYU just recruited a 5-star athlete basketball player from Russia. So, and he's predicted to be a one and done after BYU.
Yeah, and the number one kid is BYU is a finalist for him as well. Yeah, that is impressive. That is massively impressive. For these kids to be considering BYU. But that's the advantage. That's the advantage of being in the Big 12, because the Big 12 is a very strong basketball conference. And then the head coach has done a really good job on showing these guys a path clearly into the NBA coming through BYU and under his coaching.
Yeah.
Well, that helps. That helps, and it also helps that they paid this guy because they know this guy has NBA connection, and then I think it's an easy sell. BYU, like I said, you're playing in the biggest state, indoor basketball court in all of the Big 12. So I feel like that's a sell too to a lot of these.
That's actually true. That's a good point.
Yeah.
in the nation.
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I think they legitimately could have lost those games. I mean, South Sudan, they should have lost that game. They got lucky. Now with Serbia, with Joker, I agree. They came back. They came back in a dominant fashion. But that South Sudan team, they should have lost. I think they got a little lucky on the South Sudan, and that was their first game. I think USA should win, but I'm not convinced that it's going to be a guaranteed slam dunk.
Who would you bet on? Who would you bet on? Then Dua, USA to win against France for the gold.
If I were to have to put money down, I would say USA, but I'm not convinced that it's like automatic. I think
Blowout.
I wouldn't be surprised if they lose.
Oh, I would be shocked out of my mind.
I may have been if they weren't so close on some of these other games.
No, but that's what I'm saying. I it's not the guys come out and shoot around and have some fun in the first half, and then they intentionally make it up in the second half because they don't want these massive blowouts. It's bad for ratings, bad for international basketball, bad for the Olympics, all of that stuff. So
I'm trying to see where are these guys. Who's this guy? So he's French basketball. So their point guard is not in the NBA. This guy, he's with the Celtics, I think.
He plays for the NBA. Yeah, I've heard of him.
Oh, but kind of going to the point to our conversation earlier. If the USA goes in with 4 players, right, even against even South, they lose, right? I mean, if that's, you can't play a sport and be down one complete player and it.
Yeah,
you
know what I mean? That's a good product, and people
that's not a good product. Yeah, that's not a good
product. I think these are all NBA guys.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I mean, if they're playing if they're more of like a rotational players, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
But I guess I mean, the French barely survived the Japanese. They almost lost to Japan.
Yeah, that's kind of the interesting thing with like interesting countries like Japan. Japan has a pro basketball league, right? And you can just find some weird styles of playing the game that just that are just difficult to deal with. And you catch them on the right day or the wrong day or whatever, and they're not bad basketball players, and the Japanese are they're smart.
Yeah, it looks like Clyde Moore here was saying he was reading some articles about, I guess, Jason Tatum hasn't really played. Who's, from what I've been reading on the headlines, LeBron James has been surprisingly dominant.
Yeah,
in the Olympics. Yeah, like it's been where a lot of the other 39 players. Yeah. Yeah, and as looks like that's the thing. Hey Kelly, 100%. That's the thing with basketball. It's definitely more spread out, has a lot more competition around the world. So that probably makes it a lot more competitive.
Yeah, and that's kind of also pretty reflective in the US market where, I mean, if you start a football program, you're talking about millions and millions of dollars you have to spend, right? If you're going to start a basketball program, you just need 5 solid guys, right?
T-shirt,
and you can use like a small little gym. And so the opportunities for schools to do well in basketball are just a lot higher, and so that opens up a lot more opportunities. And then, of course, those schools go hunting for best players on an international level. Bringing in a bunch of kids internationally from Lithuania, Serbia, Czechoslovakia, Russia, everywhere. So basketball is pretty interesting.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. We'll see. We'll know by 2:30. Looks, this is off of my phone, off of my computer, so that's probably central. So by our next live or our next episode, we can revisit it and see how that went. And if France ends up winning, maybe we'll watch a couple highlights. But if the US wins, everybody's gonna be like, well, they were supposed to win anyway.
Yeah, you're supposed to
It'll only make news if the US loses.
Yeah, but and that's why I'm saying, like, the fact that the United States has played a bunch of these close games and had to come from behind to win many, many times, it's going to drive ratings up because I think, right, it gives the feeling and the impression that France has a chance, and that's what you want. Like you actually want that. Like I think over the last 30 years or even 35 years, the average NFL game has been decided by less than 3 points. Or
Yeah,
about
that's
3
how
points.
competitive it is.
That's how competitive it is, right? And that's one of the great things about the NFL, which is super smart, is that if you win the Super Bowl, they do everything they can to try and make you fail, right? You have the hardest schedule, you go last in the draft. They really try and mess with you, and because what they want is that they want every team to feel like they have a chance and every fan base to feel like they have a chance. Because I think, as far as winning your division, I think 70% of all you have new division champions 70% of the time in the NFL. So you get a lot of excitement and rotation on those kinds of things.
Hopefully we'll you know what, let's look at maybe we'll close out with this is Olympic medal count. Maybe we'll close out with that.
You mean current or like all time?
No, just current.
Because the United States, as far as
should be in the lead.
Yeah, of course the United States is in the lead. I don't think it's even close. But even all time over Olympics, I think the United States has more gold medals in total than than the next country has total medals. Period.
Yeah. What's
actually that'll be interesting.
Ahead,
I was gonna say, is there a year? Because I feel like America in total medal counts with gold, silver, and bronze. Has there ever been a year that America has never been number one?
No,
but I feel
not that America, I'm aware of.
No, yeah. Except who do you think won the breakdancing gold medal this year?
Hey, Lee, it sounds to me like you want to watch that breakdance video again.
Well, I'm seeing Australia. I'm looking at Australia in third place as far as medals go. I'm like, hey, maybe that medal from breakdancing actually,
Hey, here's the funny thing, and I'm going to look it up now. Is I don't know what the beef is with the Aussies and America in the Olympics.
Over what? Swimming?
Over medal count.
Oh, okay. Because I know there was a beef between Australia and the U.S. because the Australians don't like. They said because America always wins the gold a lot of the times. It was one of the Australian swimmers says she likes when the American anthem is not played in the.
Because you're just used to hearing the Star Spangled Banner, but I think it was a beef over who was going to win gold at breakdancing. It's the Australian breakdancer. Tama na nga introduce breakdancing Olympic, man.
Well, that sounds about right with all the transgender boxing styles they're introducing in the Olympic committee. They're saying that it's okay. They've passed the gender test.
Masi, I'll pen pick Olympic hokote ke hugo women's boxing Olympic.
I could be a gold medalist for the first time ever. Just sheer muscle. That'd be hilarious.
Oh, that's let's look at this.
Will be making weight.
Just go to the super extra heavy weight. So this is like I can't find the video, but there's a compilation I saw where all these Australians America, you guys are doing it wrong, you guys blah blah blah, and I was like, dude, go home and win some more medals. I don't know what you want from us, but I think this guy kind of describes it a little bit, and I guess they're disputing how Americans view the medal count. So let's see how it goes here.
Okay, yeah, this is
medals wrong. This is from an American website. I just wanted to show you how we do it. I didn't know this was weird until the comments section. It says the U.S. is in front with 78 medals in the state, but China actually has one more gold medal at 21 right now. I'm hearing reports that the United States started doing this because China started beating them in the early 90s. I don't know if that's true, man. If it is, this is all Americans care about. Already beating China, bro. I don't know if the Americans send way more athletes. I just know there's a lot of competitiveness, dude. Russia was so competitive, they started doping and then
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know what the beef is, but I guess the Australians were like, Americans don't understand, they're counting. And then look, you know what? I don't know why they go and make that thing, because what you end up is the America's gonna win anyway.
Yeah, well, try look up the last Olympics, the medal count for the Tokyo Olympics.
2020 Olympics.
Yeah.
Well, I just know that America tends to send the most athletes in all the sports, but it's because they have the economic
Well,
power.
and Australia was actually second. They had the second most athletes this year.
Okay.
So yeah, here it is. 113.
Yeah, see, that's not like far off, but America total medal count, America is still there. But yeah, because I think that's the proper count of counting medals is total, because they still carry value when you talk about the whole world competition, second, third. So yeah, I mean, if it was only gold, then we should never have silver and third,
Yeah,
and then
just
there'd
have
be
a
more
winner.
Energy. Yes, have a winner. So to me, it makes sense the American system of counting total medals count. So I don't know what's the big beat there.
Yeah, because Australia, I guess they think they're definitely punching above their weight for
Yeah.
population size. So maybe they're trying to go on a per capita count because their population's so much smaller and they're the amount of medals.
Oh, if that's the case, then China is going to be way in the bottom.
Yeah, China's going to be the bottom with 1 billion people, right?
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I didn't know what was the case with that, but I mean, the Olympics, there's been some crazy stories. That BYU runner, did you guys see the BYU runner? He got a silver medal.
The steeplechase, Rooks or something or whatever his name was.
And he's the one that fell in the
Yeah.
collegiate race where he fell and he came back and won.
One.
So that guy's probably going to be a star for a while.
Yeah. He has an opportunity in the next Olympic.
Here's another interesting story that Nacho is bringing up. Do you guys see what happened with Noah Lyles? So he won the 100, but in the 200, he was talking a lot of smack and then maybe got bronze, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he said he was competing with COVID, yeah.
Well, let's show you what he was doing before the race. He looked just fine. He's jumping around. I don't know. People are making fun of that. I don't know.
Now I don't mind Noah. I mean, it's just part of. I think it's just part of the mind games. You psych yourself up. You have to. I mean, when you're participating in a high level sport, you love it. It's the mental game. You psych yourself up to say you're the best, so you can get the best result. So it's just part of, and I feel like that's just part of a lot of high, especially Americans and the high professional athletes. It's a crazy game, and I don't see anything wrong with that.
Well, and that's the thing that a lot of people don't understand that that's actually a mentality you have to tell yourself. Everybody's like, "Oh man, these athletes are so cocky." Well, how else do you win? Have you ever worked with a businessman? Like that's what everybody says about Donald Trump. Well, dude, that comes with winning. It's really hard to not be confident when you're winning all the time. But it looks like he's taking a lot of heat for racing with COVID.
Look, is exposing other athletes to it or something, or what?
Yeah, it looks like that's what they're kind of saying here in some of the headlines. Here is Noah faces heat after running with COVID, where people are saying, because dude, it's the cold. Nope, everybody used to cheer for that, right? When Michael Jordan played with a cold. Let's just be honest. We're pretty sure that COVID now is
it's a flu.
Is a cold.
Yeah.
It's a flu.
Yeah.
Malo Australia for educating us Americans, but we'll still take the W. Australia's medal for breakdancing, just a participation medal.
I guess they weren't counting participation medals in that medal count now.
Oh yeah, awesome. Well, coming up on the hour point. Lee, any closing thoughts? Any closing comments? Thank you. The inaugural inaugural episode with the Casual Observer. So, any thoughts?
Definitely enjoyed doing this. Kind of had the opportunity to kind of jump on the podcast. So, I'm enjoying it. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's amazing how quickly the time flies. And honestly, it's because we have some awesome viewers, man. Our viewers and followers are absolutely hilarious. Not only
3 hours, has it really been 3 hours?
It's been 3 hours. It goes by fast, man.
Okay.
So malo.
Hey, I give all you guys gold medals for staying up for this whole thing. So we do the medal count wherever you're from. You put you on the board for.
Enjoyed our discussion. Enjoyed having Lee for his inaugural participation in the Polynesian Ice broadcast. It's fun. Appreciate the viewers' contribution and just sticking out with us in this. We just like to talk stories and just talk about sports, history, and looking forward for the next time we catch up. But appreciate everyone's view of this episode.
100%. Pretty exciting. A lot of sports going on right now. Really exciting to watch our people across the board. Another interesting thing is our Samoan brother who broke into the discus final, right? And Nacho and Water Bears, Komoa de Mofuhu ye toa. You're gonna have a digital instead of not a fight. We're gonna have a break dance competition.
Nacho Water Bear or the Mokonakov, yeah.
But as always, appreciate everyone's time. You can find once again something really helps us, makes a big difference for us. Like, comment, share. It really does go a long way for us, and we'll start working on, like I said, the love of the game. We'll put together some t-shirts and stuff here in the next few months. But really appreciate everyone's time. It's always a lot of fun. And as we always say, Masi, you want to close us out with our favorite saying before we close the show?
Stay curious.
And ask the hard questions.
Yeah, stay curious and ask the hard questions. There we go.
All right.
There we go,
All right. Peace, everybody. Till next time. Aloha.
Yeah.